Hello, hello, hello. Welcome. It's another one of our Slant Alpha adventures getting underway. We are live from Studio 5 just outside of Ocean City, Maryland. And in the sim, guess what, friends? We are also just outside of Ocean City, Maryland. We are at Ocean City Municipal Airport, where we're going to start our adventure this evening. And our goal is to make Mike sweat. Well, who is Mike? You may ask, and why does he want to sweat so badly? Well, our very good friend Jet Pilot Cinnamon, aka Mike, is the founder of the Virtual USA Flying Club, and we're flying their livery very proudly today for this event. And he's been doing these events called Make Mike Sweat, where he's part of the New York ARTCC on VATSIM, and he loads into a Class Delta tower, and he says, bring it on. Bring on all the traffic you want to bring, and make me work for it. Make me earn it. And, of course, make me sweat is a little appropriate today. We got record-setting temperatures all through the mid-Atlantic region. So many of us are sweating already. We don't really need much help being made to sweat here. Fortunately, at the moment, it's a relatively reasonable temperature in the sim room. But, of course, with the PC up and running, it kind of slowly elevates as time goes on. Not as bad as it is outside today, though, however. Fortunately, I was able to stay inside and avoid the bulk of that. But here we go. This is the event briefing for the Virtual USA Flying Club, and it's at Lancaster, Pennsylvania. So we're going to go head up north and west. We're going to take off from the municipal airport here at Ocean City. We're going to do a quick flyby of the city itself. We've got that Google Maps enhancement of the city that makes it look stunning in terms of the detail. We'll do another pass over that. We'll head up to the north and west. We'll pass over Dover Motor Speedway, and then we'll follow kind of the coast and the Delaware River. Then we'll kind of cut over to the Susquehanna River and make our way up to Lancaster that way. So that'll be our plan. As a matter of fact, I have that plotted out on SkyVector just to get a loose estimate of the mileage. So this is the plan. Take off, due north, past Ocean City into Fenwick, Bethany, Dewey, and Rehoboth, and Lewis. And then this is the Lewis Cape May Ferry right here. We'll cut to the north and west at that point, follow the coast up. Once we get on over top of Dover Airport, Dover Air Force Base, then the NASCAR race, the Monster Mile, as they call it, is right here just to the north and west of that. And then from there, about a 320, we'll try and join the Susquehanna right where the Elk River comes in. That way we'll miss this restricted airspace, which is over Edgewood and Aberdeen, Maryland, where they do some munitions testing for the Army. We kind of want to avoid that. We'll aim for the Susquehanna River. We'll follow that up. And at the point where the Susquehanna makes this little wiggle north and then west again, that'll be our point to break off and head north north, basically due north from there to Lancaster Airport, where we'll be visiting our friend Mike, and then we'll turn around and basically follow same path, retrace our steps heading backwards to come back. And we'll be fighting daylight by that point. I've got it set to 3 p.m. in the sim right now, and that's about a 4-hour trip. It'll be about 7 p.m. in the sim when we get back, and that'll be just when we're starting to lose the light. Got a race against time going for us as well, so a lot of different elements coming into this evening's adventure. All right, we're going to jump into the aircraft and go ahead and get started. I want to say hi to Iowa Scotsman, who has stopped in. Anybody else lurking in the chat, hello and welcome. Good to see you. We also have a freeware add-on for the Lancaster Airport. Do not have a freeware add-on for this airport here. As a matter of fact, this is not nearly this nice-looking a building. This, however, is a much nicer-looking building in reality than what is pictured here by the default scenery. But don't have a freeware add-on for this airport. We just have that freeware add-on for the city itself. But the city itself does look pretty good, so we'll show you that here in just a moment. We've got the doors and windows open now. I guess I should real quick check and make sure my flight controls are all synced. Yeah, they're all good to go. Okay. Switches and levers all their starting position, so we are good. Let's find my mouse cursor real quick. Let's get our high-tech control lock off here. And let's get our fuel valves open so that we can do our little sump check of the main tanks. We don't need to do the tip tanks today. I don't have enough need for fuel for the tip tanks, but we're going to fill the main tanks pretty close to full. But let's go ahead and start our walk around and our pre-flight inspection. Whoops. start our walk around and our pre-flight inspection of the A2A Simulations Piper Comanche, and it does do a very nice, thorough walk-around mode where you do have to check and make sure that the plane is airworthy. And you can go into this tablet here and have it detect problems that you need to fix. But the fun part, really, the fun challenge is to detect those issues with your walk-around rather than having to cheat and have the magic tablet just tell you everything that's wrong with the plane. So we're testing the flaps to make sure that they were not rubbing or catching in between positions and they were secure. The aileron should move freely between, throughout its range and shouldn't rub or catch anywhere. We're not going to, like I said, do a test of the fuel and the tip tank because we're not going to be using it. The light we'll check on the second pass. We'll pull up the tie down. We'll go ahead and get the right side wing tank filled to 28 gallons. We're going to take a total of 58 gallons. We should burn about half of that. So we should end with 14 gallons in each tank. We're going to start with 28 in each tank. So nearly full, and we should inspect the level to see that it is indeed nearly full, and it's the right color of fuel for what we are burning in this aircraft today, which is the 100 low lead. That's a nice light blue color. Okay, so we'll cap that, and we'll put the cover back on it. And we'll fill the left side wing tank when we get there. For right now, we're going to continue our walk around. Move the chocks. We'll open up. We'll take a little bit of a sample out of the bottom of that tank. You want to make sure that it's not water that has settled into the bottom of that tank. You want to make sure that it is indeed that same color of fuel that you were just observing a moment ago. And, of course, there's no contamination there, any kind of dirt or other foreign objects floating around in that fuel. So we're good there in terms of the color and quality of that fuel. We'll continue on. No obstructions, no objects left in the air intake. Propeller's in good shape, no damage to it. This is our oil dipstick. We'll pull that out. It should be sitting just above 9 and at a cold and dark state, and it's right below it. We can go in and we can add just maybe a quart. We don't have to do a full oil change here. It's nice. It's still a nice light tan color, so it's good. But we'll add a quart just to make sure that it sits right there above the 9. And then we will move on. Close that back up. Close that back up, and we will continue our walk around. This is the left side wing tank refill cap, and we'll go ahead and put, like I said, up to 28 gallons in that. We should visually inspect color and approximate quantity matching what we had ordered to be put in. Tom's Waffle was here. Tom's WFL. Tom's Southwest Florida. I know, but it looks like Tom's Waffle. But Tom, good to see you back in the chat here, and looking forward to seeing you as well. We got the cover closed. Let's go back to the walk around and continue that on. Pull the wheel chocks. Did we determine, by the way, Tom, do you live anywhere near Fort Myers? Parents live down there now. We pulled the tie down and the pitot cover, or maybe I just forgot to put those up at the end of the last one. I'll have to check and make sure that airspeed comes alive when we get rolling, because I think I might have left that pitot cover off. We'll check the light again, as I mentioned, on the second pass. Same with that light there. Nothing to do with the tip tank. And then let's just make sure that ailerons move freely and flaps do not move freely. Okay, and they're fairly sturdy in between positions. Not rubbing. No, Northport. Okay, very good. I feel like we maybe had that conversation, but I don't remember. There's no obstructions in the static port. The horizontal surface should move freely. The vertical surface should not move as freely. We'll take up that last tie down. There's no obstruction in the static port. And it's just me on a day trip today, so we will not take too much. We'll take my toolkit and my one duffel bag, and that's probably all we need. We're just going to head up and back. Going to do the $100 burger, as they say. Okay, so we got the battery switch on. I'm going to get rid of the yoke so we can look at the circuit breakers. None of them appear to be popped. Battery switch on. All of the lights on. We'll take another quick pass outside to make sure that they're all lit. Okay, we did see the green lit there. The landing light should be fairly obvious. The strobe you can see from pretty much every position. The landing light on the other side, yep, very obvious, and the red glow there is on as well. So really the last thing we need to see is that rotating beacon up top there, and we now have done so. Alright, so we are done. We can put that away. I'm going to turn the strobe off, landing lights off. We're going to close and latch the door, but we'll leave the windows open so that we can be heard when we go to make our clear call. Mix can go full forward, throttle can go full forward for now, as we will run the, that's pizza heat. Let's run the fuel pump for just a few moments. We should see the fuel pressure slowly rise, and we'll unlock the primer once the fuel pressure gets up to about 5 here. There we go. We'll go ahead and pull that primer about 4 times, maybe about 3 times. It's pretty warm today. Shouldn't need to put a whole ton of fuel in. But we'll go ahead and close that up. We'll leave the fuel pump running for now. We'll do the left. The right, the left, both mags. Clear, 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 clear. Throttle can come back down before we do this part. Okay, disengage the starter. RPM's down to 1,000. Did the oil pressure come up right away? Yes, indeed it did. Leave the mix out right to the point where it starts to drop. Okay, the fuel pressure is still showing 5. I'm going to shut the fuel pump off though, but the engine has its own gear or belt driven pump that should be running fuel now, and it does seem to be working fine because we did not lose any fuel pressure when we turned off the electric. The electric basically becomes a backup pump once the engine is running and supplying its own, so that's all good. Let's go ahead and get the avionics on. We can get the nav1 com1, nav2 com2. We'll go ahead and get the transponder on. I'm squawking 1200. We're going to be VFR. I'm going to go ahead and put it in mode C mode now, just so I don't forget. We do have some VATSIM air traffic control in the region, but we're going to be... Oh, we did. Never mind. They're no longer on. So we'll just be on 122.8 for the journey, at least heading up that way. However, we do have a common traffic advisory frequency here at Ocean City Municipal. I think it's 123.05. Yep, I remembered it correctly. 123.05 is where we'll start our radios. Taking the long way to get there. That's fine. 23.05. Swap that in. 22.8 is what we'll switch to once we're en route. Although there may not be too much to say on that. Probably not a lot of traffic to coordinate with. At least at the airport, we'll make regular traffic pattern calls. And then on COM2, we'll just monitor 121.5, the guard frequency, in case we get any VATSIM air traffic control pop on. However, we are going to be doing this. This is a non-towered field, so no control tower that you need to talk to in order to move around this airport or use its runways. And then this is all going to be Class Echo and Golf airspace. There's no Bravo, Charlie, or Delta airspace that we need to worry about. There's the Bravo here at Phillips. As long as we stay to the east, the dead center or east of the Susquehanna River, we'll miss that. We've got the Class Bravo for Philadelphia way up to the right of the Susquehanna. As long as we don't follow the Delaware up where it turns north, we'll be okay there. And then we got the Potomac Bravo airspace, which is well down to the south of Martin State and down to the south of Phillips. So if we navigate visually the way we intend to, we won't be in any of that. We'll just need to talk to Mike on Lancaster Tower. That'll be the only Bravo, Charlie, or Delta airspace that we'll be entering as part of this evening's festivities. So we'll be in Golf or Echo class airspace the rest of the way, and we'll be operating here at a non-towered field. We also will be passing right over top of Dover Air Force Base. That's a Class Delta. We'll need to just make sure we're at 2600 or above. You could really be 2501 or above, but just for sake of appearing not to bust that airspace on anyone's air traffic control scope, they show altitude in terms of rounded to the nearest 100. So I would like my altitude to say 026 or higher as we pass over Dover, rather than looking like we might be busting that airspace. We're going to actually cruise at 4,500. So that'll be our plan for this evening. Okay, there it is, and we'll zoom back in on it once we get rolling, just so I can kind of corroborate my position as we go. But we got the comm plan figured out, 2305, 22.8, and then we'll tune into Mike's frequency once we get up there. The other thing we can do is we can tune the Lancaster VOR, just when we get closer to that it will kind of give us a distance countdown, so when we check in, we'll know we're X number of miles south of the field or whatever. 117.3, and we're going to just tune that to due north. As we know where we will be due south of it once we are heading toward it. So there we go. Plop that in. Definitely not going to expect to be reading that just yet. Alright, the METAR observation, KOXB, 170 at 3, and altimeter's 3008. Let's set the 3008 and make sure that the field elevation is close. We know it's about 16 feet here, and yep, that is exactly what we're showing, so we're good there. It looks like we're parked at a 060 almost exactly. Let's make sure that we spin the directional gyro around to match that. And then we want to get a sense of the departure runway. 170 at 3. So you kind of want to take off southbound. Got a 14 and a 20. Well, I will tell you that 14 and 32 is the primary runway here. It's the one that goes parallel to the hangars and the parking area. 20 is not commonly used, especially not in a 3-knot wind. And we, in fact, we will use runway 14 not for the full length, but we'll take it from the end of what is taxiway Alpha right here as it cuts in. And joins 14 just a little ways up. There's still still about 3,500 feet available from that point, so that's what we'll do. Is excuse me, runway 14 for departure, and then our on-course heading will be just due north. If we go 14 down to the shoreline here, and then we're going to be turning to about a 025, 030, somewhere in there. So we'll set 14 on the arrow, although that's where the heading bug is set now. We'll set the arrow to 14. That'll match the runway heading that we intend to use. And then I said probably be a 020 to a 030 will be our on-course heading, so we'll set the green heading bug to reflect that. So there we go. Okay, no clearance to obtain. Comm radios are set, altimeter set, field elevation verified, direction gyro set, heading nav radius, nav course is set, transponder code and mode set. We are ready to roll, guys. Now we did check the control surfaces outside of the plane, but we can check again to make sure that they move as commanded. Right. Now, we can't see the rudder from here, but we can have somebody outside the plane give us a big thumbs up that the rudder has also moved as commanded. We can set flaps for departure. We can set trim for departure. One more crank down to neutralize it. And then I think we are golden. Is there anything else I'm forgetting? Minimum departure fuel is 32 gallons. And we've got almost that per tank, so we're fine there. So, parking brake released, and we are rolling. Ocean City traffic, Comanche 514 Delta Victor taxiing out to runway 14 for a VFR northbound departure, Ocean City. Off of the ramp area here, we'll join the actual de facto taxiway. Now we should be taxiing in a 3-2 direction in order for us to depart in a 1-4 direction. So see the arrow points to the left, and we want to be taxiing toward the right. And that all seems to make sense with what we're doing. All the sanity checks have passed so far. Alright, again, we're not going to be able to take that all the way to the full length, but we'll take it as far as we can, and then we'll take runway 14 from there. We'll do a quick run-up once we get down to the end. We'll leave the mixed leans for the moment as we do our prop lever check. Having the higher power with the mixed leaned out burn off any carbon deposits that we've inadvertently picked up while sitting here idling at the lower power. Even though I did have the mixed leaned out for that, so we should have mitigated that, but we'll do a little bit of a burn off just to make sure. So 2,000 on the RPMs. We'll flex the prop lever a few times. Once. Twice. And 3 times. And we'll now enrich the mix. Do a carb heat check. Yep, we should see a drop there. We'll do a mag check. Left mag, we see almost 100 drop. Back to normal. Right mag, we see basically the same, about a 90 RPM drop, back to normal. And we are good. Ocean City traffic, Comanche 514 Delta Victor's departing runway 14 to be a left-hand turnout, the VFR northbound, Ocean City. Alright, strobes, landing, pitot, and fuel pump. Visual check for traffic. Being none, here we go. Takeoff power coming at you. Airspeed's alive, so the pitot didn't get blocked while it was sitting there on the ramp. That's good. Okay, 80 miles an hour, really not knots, but we'll go ahead and lift off. Pitch for 105. Keep geared out until we're sure we're not returning to the pavement for any reason. Given that fact, go ahead and pull the gear up. And we got good positive climb, plenty of airspeed. Yeah, wait till maybe 400 before I turn before I pull the flaps in. I'm going to pull the engine RPMs just barely off of the red line. Make a traffic call. Ocean City traffic, Comanche 514 Delta Victor, clear runway 14 on the left-hand VFR northbound turnout, Ocean City. Alright, there's our inlet. You can see the Ferris wheel. 24 on the RPMs. 24 on the manifold. Flaps can come in. And I'm going to keep it at 1,000 for now for our little tour of the city. Pull up to 22 and 22. And again, this is a Google mod, freeware mod that involves Google imagery. Make the city really kind of pop in terms of the detail. Got the inlet parking lot, lots of beachgoers. Got the we got the Tripper's Ferris wheel, and then the big wheel that comes in for part of the summer. Cambria Hotel here, the Route 50 drawbridge. Got 3rd Street Park. As we come up, we can see the boardwalk that runs right along the beach there. This is, I believe, it's Teal Drive. I forget the name of the island there, with the nice high-end homes there. And as we get further up, this is Jolly Roger Amusement Park, Speed World, and Splash Mountain. About 30th Street here. The second bridge comes in across Maryland Route 90 bridge, comes in at 62nd Street. This is the convention center right here at 40th, 41st Street here. The water tower right out in front. Up here we got some of our bigger nightclubs. Secrets here at 48th, Fager's at 52nd or thereabouts. Fager's Island. This is all where I work, just north of the bridge. Another water tower there. Once we get up into this north end of town, we get to what we call Condo Row. This is where, once you get around 100th Street, about 90th Street to about 118th Street, where you get all the big high-rises. They kind of came into being in the 70s and 80s in this town. The building my parents used to have a unit in. They now live in Fort Myers, Florida, as we mentioned before. Northside Park is up here, where they, let's see, North Side, a little further up, Northside Park. The old shopping center that they're about to tear down and rebuild finally. Northside Park's just a little bit further up. Let's see, the Carousel Hotel, about 118. That's this one here. There we go. And just north of that, like 125, 127. They just recently created an RNAV instrument approach for the helicopter to land here. They use this as a landing site for Maryland State Medevac when they have flyouts on the north end of the city. They now have an instrument approach. They can use this soccer field, in fact. This one or this one, I can't remember where. I think it might be this one. As a, that is this one, I believe. As a landing site for the medevacs. And then once we get further than that, right along in here is now where, yep, this is Delaware Route 54, so we're now passing from Ocean City into Fenwick Island, Delaware. A little small resort town. And then once you get further up, you get into Bethany Beach, and then Dewey Beach, and then Rehoboth Beach. Guess I can go ahead and switch over to 122.8 since we're no longer at Ocean City Airport. Go ahead and take her back up into climb power, 24 and 24 here. We're already at 150 miles an hour. I'm going to put it just into a gentle climb here. We're not going to go all the way back down to 105. We'll put her in just a gentle climb. Nice little cruise climb going here. So we get past Fenwick, and then there's a little section of Delaware Seashore National Park, or I don't have the exact title right, but something along those lines. And this is all called Bethany Beach here. South Bethany, and then Bethany Beach itself. Pretty soon we'll be coming by the Indian River Inlet. Beautiful bridge that comes over and connects two pieces of the barrier island here. Nice inlet, good surfing, good currents up here. My colleague is an avid surfer. Always talks about the good surfing that's available here at this inlet, Indian River. We got airborne quite a bit early, by the way. Had planned to be airborne by about quarter till the hour. So it seems like we got airborne right at the bottom of the hour, so that's good. And the arrival window for Mike is 7 p.m. Eastern to 9:30 p.m. Eastern. And I was planning on about getting there about 8:45. Maybe we'll get there closer to 8:30. But we'll put in his Twitch stream, by the way. If you want to check that out. Got his live stream going. He'll be controlling tower up there at Lancaster. Okay, so we are coming across the top end of Bethany Beach, Delaware. This is the Indian River Inlet and the Indian River Inlet Bridge. Like I said, this is a Delaware Seashore National Park or something along those lines. Like I said, I may not have the words exactly right. So once we get up to the end here, once we get up to Lewes and we start cutting north and west, I'll pick it up to 4,500. Like I said, I want to be above the Class Delta at Dover Air Force Base. So I don't want to be skirting that. Right now we're at 2,000 feet. That Delta goes up to, I think we said 2,500. Yeah, so here's the inlet bridge and nice little RV parking area on this side, and open parking on this side for beach-going visitors to hop in for the day. And then you get two things going on here. The town that you encounter just north of the inlet is Dewey Beach. Kind of a party scene. Younger crowd here. A little bit more progressive crowd here. A little bit of a party scene going. And then just up from that is Rehoboth Beach, Delaware. So Dewey, as you pass through right here on the shore, and then this road bends to the west, and then this all in here is Rehoboth Beach, Delaware. And there's a former president who has a beach house in this area somewhere. Just coming into the south end of town, if I remember correctly, where some of the higher end houses are. And then what you have up here is Lewes, and that's the bottom end of the Lewes and Cape May Ferry that crosses the Delaware Bay. Heads up to Cape May, New Jersey. We can go see, here's Cape May over here to the right. And the ferry goes across, where you can drive all the way up through like Philadelphia and then over the Delaware Bridge and then back down. I mean, it's a pretty far drive, and then the ferry is, what, a half an hour or so, I think? Never been on it. But it's hours to drive up to the Delaware Memorial Bridge, where you cross and then pick up the bottom end of the New Jersey Turnpike, and then you kind of have to come back down to the southern tip of New Jersey, the Jersey Shore. Atlantic City would be just up a ways up the coast here. So here's Dewey right here, and then this bends off, and then north of this little bay here, this is all considered Rehoboth Beach. Then this is Lewes up here right on the end, and then Cape Henlopen, I like to say it together because that's how they say it, Cape Henlopen National Park. That's where they've got some of the old military batteries that guarded the Delaware Bay are still present there, in the barracks and that sort of thing. So if you're into military history, Cape Henlopen National Park is a good visit. You guys enjoying the tour? I'm just buzzed. Let me just make sure it's nothing super critical work related. Alright, I'm going to cut the corner a little bit. We're just going to follow the western shore. Pete the Guy is here, says I'm enjoying it, yeah. Well, you guys, any of you got interested by anything that I said and you would come down and visit, check in with me. I got to check with the wife about the guest room availability, but I will certainly take you up on grabbing a bite or a beverage. Dinner and first round on me. Any of you ever get down this way? Alright, so we're 3,000 feet now. You know, we could really cruise VFR at 3,000. If we're within 3,000 of the ground, you don't really have to abide by the eastbound-westbound conventions of the odd 1,000 plus 500 for eastbound, even numbered 1,000 for plus 500 for westbound. That really doesn't start until you get above 3,000 feet. But we'll just go ahead and take it up to 45 anyway, because like I said, I don't want to be skirting that Air Force Base Class Delta. Well, we are at this point tracking the coast kind of north and westbound. We will see Dover Air Force Base just on the northwestern corner of Dover Air Force Base's delta. We'll see the what they call the Monster Mile. If you're a NASCAR fan, you know the Monster Mile here in Dover. Dover Downs, Dover Motor Speedway, I believe is its current technically correct name, but it's known by all those things. You guys know what I'm talking about when I say that. Matter of fact, when we see the shore kind of bend back to the right, that's when we're going to... Oh, we got two bends to the right. We got a first bend to the right here. We'll continue to follow it. We got a second bend to the right. That's when Dover Air Force Base should be right in front of us. That's when we'll expect to see that, and that might be the second bend up here. Dover might be like right in here where the tip of the mouse cursor is, if I had to guess. We'll take it up another 800 feet. We'll cruise at 4,500. And I realize I haven't really been adjusting the manifold pressure. The RPMs are still at 24. Manifold pressure has kind of dropped off because I've been climbing into progressively less dense air, but I haven't been adjusting the throttle accordingly. So as that air gets less and less dense, the amount of air that you're sucking into the engine gets less by volume. Manifold pressure drops, and you know could be climbing at a higher power than you really are. But there we'll get that last 400 feet, and we'll level it off. We'll get back to 22 and 22. We'll lean it out to 14 gallons an hour in terms of our fuel burn, and then we'll make the rest of our way up to Lancaster using those parameters. So what we can do, just as a courtesy, as we pass over the Dover class Delta, we can give a CTAF call on Dover's CTAF channel. I hate saying CTAF frequency. CTAF frequency. We'll make a call on Dover's CTAF just to, advise any traffic who happens to be listening in the area, which of course on VATSIM will be none. But we'll advise any traffic in the area that we're transiting the airspace from the southeast to the northwest at 4,500. That way, if there does happen to be somebody who's floating around the same area, they'll be monitoring that same channel. They'll kind of know what we're up to. They'll hear that call, and they'll know where we are and how to avoid us. All right, let's back the RPMs down to 22. Manifold pressure down to 22. I'm going to put some down trim so we can get the camera leveled off. I tend to look at the feet here, and then I have trouble as the plane continues to climb because I'm not looking level with the horizon. I'm looking down, and it causes a misjudgment of how nose up or nose down I am. I think contributes to the fact that I tend to keep climbing in this aircraft after I intend to level off. Alright, so there's 22 on the manifold, 22 on the RPM, so I'm getting a little bit of descent going now. Let's trim it back up, get that last 100 feet back, and then I'm going to slowly lean the mix out to about 14 gallons an hour. You got 22, 22, and 14 is average figures. The atmospheric conditions, based on temperature, based on your cruise altitude, based on pressure, ambient pressure, they're going to change the exact settings that you want in order to achieve certain engine power, certain cruise performance, and so on and so forth. So I just use rounded figures, 22, 22, and 14, and that's close enough for my purposes. Really, we're flying this plane. You'd want to be a little bit more specific about exactly the fuel burn and cruise performance you were aiming for here. You'd use the value out of the book accordingly. For me, 22, 22, 14 is close enough. RPMs can come down just a touch. Manifold can come also down just a touch, it looks like. And mix can come in just a touch, okay. Alright, so here's the second bend in the shoreline, and I kind of see some approach sequence lights over here. How well that's coming across the stream just above where I've got the mouse cursor, but I can see just the very faint traces of an approach sequence lighting array there. So I'm going to follow the coast. Yeah, we can kind of cut the corner. We'll just head straight to that. We know we're heading straight to that. Now I've got an extra 200 or so feet of altitude for you. A little bonus altitude for you. We'll go ahead and try and give that back. Check in with Jet Pilot Cinnamon. How's he doing? He doesn't appear to be sweating yet. Although we just have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 aircraft in the airspace. So not sweating, but he's a little bit busy. We'll get up there, we'll add to the chaos as soon as we can. And 14. Oh, and you know what I never did? I never turned that fuel pump off. That's something that should be on during takeoff and landing, but during cruise you can have it off again. The engine supplies its own fuel pressure when it's running. The electric pump is used for the startup sequence, but then it's used during takeoff and landing as a backup, you know, a supplemental / backup. So, but yeah, after you pull those flaps in, you really should be turning that fuel pump off, and I tend to forget. When I haven't flown this plane in a while, I tend to forget that. All right, we're coming up on Dover. I can do two things here. I can tune in the VOR frequency just to get a better read. Well, the VOR is, what, 5 miles north of the airport. Smyrna VOR, 111.4. So we'll take our distance to that, subtract 5, and that'll be distance to the airport. We're 18 miles from Smyrna VOR, so we're 13 miles from the airport. And then let's go to the Common Traffic Advisory frequency for Dover. Doesn't really list one. It does say the control tower is 126.35, but we don't get that solid C. I'm going to assume that is it, 2635. But we can confirm, see if we've got an AIP entry here. Not CTAF. Hey, Dove. 126.35 is correct. Okay, good. Get that tuned in. Whoops. 126, I said, 0.35 is what I believe I said. Now I gotta check again. 126.35 is correct. So there's subtract 5. So we're 10 miles south. Dover traffic, Comanche 514 Delta Victor, 10 miles south and east, 4,500 will be transiting the airspace southeast to northwest Dover. So we'll just we'll stick with that. I'm going to turn essentially in the same direction as the runway. But I'll tell you what, let's take a moment. I'm going to calibrate my. We want about a 321, slightly higher than a 320 after we leave the speedway in order to make our way up to our next visual waypoint, which is where the Elk River meets the Chesapeake. So we'll set that 321 in the heading bug. However, before I turn to that, I got to make sure what I'm currently flying. Let's level the wings out and make sure that we got no turn happening here. It looks like we're about 3 degrees left of north. Directional driver was reading about 5 to 6 degrees right of north, so it was overdue. No, it's reading Yeah, reading. Yeah, see, I tend to do that in this aircraft. It is reading a couple degrees right of north. Maybe about 5 degrees right of north now. Okay. So there we go. Now we're over top of Dover. We're over Dover.
Flight 209er, you are cleared for takeoff.
Roger. Huh?
LA departure frequency 123.9er.
Roger. Huh? Request vector. Over. What?
Flight 209er, clear for vector 324.
You have clearance, Clarence. Roger, Roger. What's our vector, Victor?
Tower radio clearance, over.
That's Clarence, over. Over. Roger. Huh?
Roger, over.
What? Huh? Who?
324 is pretty much the vector I'm going to be flying here, which is funny. If we go 4 miles north and west of the airport, it looks like if we followed runway heading, Dover Raceway is just to the right of that extended center line. So I'll kind of stay a little. Oh, wait a minute, we're looking right at it. Duh. Right there, friends. Twenty-two, 14, and all engine readouts are all happy, plenty of fuel. BR, yes I am. Definitely. I'm leaving Thursday morning. Head up that way. I'll be getting into Providence about 5 p.m. local time there. If you go under the show schedule, under the About tab or over on the Discord server, but right there under the About tab, I've got the full itinerary for my visit to Providence listed out over there. There's the Thursday evening I get into town. I've swapped some messages with a few people that are getting into town Thursday evening that we'll probably hook up with for dinner and drinks. No firm plans, but a good number of people that I've got informal plans to try and catch up with. Friday, very busy day. We got the Flight Sim Expo Friday all day, all afternoon, all of the brand new product unveiling announcements. Then we'll go right from that into live controlling for the Friday Night Ops event. I am taking my my streaming setup up there since I'm driving it. Driving it rather than flying at this time, so I'm going to pack the PC up into the car tomorrow night, and we'll have it with me. All the streams set up as well. So we'll be live streaming Friday night from the Friday Night Ops event right there from the show floor. Saturday, very busy itinerary. Saturday, I'll be one of the speakers. Saturday morning at 10:30, giving a speech about debunking some of the common VATSIM myths, and then attending a bunch of the other presentations on Saturday. Saturday night, Mustafa and I are co-hosting a live version of his Moose After Dark karaoke stream, and we do plan to live stream that as well Saturday evening, Saturday night. There we are, the Monster Mile, as they call it. NASCAR fans, there you go. And then Sunday we'll be controlling live from the show floor right there during Sunday's festivities. Right there from the VATSIM booth. So very, very busy itinerary for me this weekend. And then Sunday night, I'm also going to be in town, and I don't have any firm plans for dinner yet on Sunday evening. But then Monday we head home. BR says, "Oh wow, it's going to be my first time in the U.S. I'm so anxious. Oh, it should be fun, man. It should be fun. Going from Brazil to Boston. Really excited to see you there. Then yeah." Definitely come find me, and I'll tell you this, and I'll tell anybody watching the channel right now. If you have not met me before in person, I'm a rather large dude. I'm easy to spot. I'm really recognizable. Hard to miss. I don't know what you look like, but you do know what I look like. I am not shy. So please feel free to come right up to me, grab my hand, shake it, throw your arms around me for a big ol' hug, whatever you're motivated to do. Definitely don't be shy about coming to say hi. I don't mind that at all. I mean, you know, some people find it awkward. It is a little awkward to go and have physical contact with somebody that you've never seen in person before. I don't mind it. So if you're compelled to come grab me and say hi, shake my hand, throw me a hug, I'm good. All right, so off of Dover Motor Speedway. Oh, VAT Brazil's going to be giving some pins out. Nice. So I will definitely be. I mean, you can check out my itinerary for Saturday. I also have a 1-hour meet and greet. I'm a co-sponsor of the Media Lounge that's in the middle of that show floor. So I got a 1-hour meet and greet from 2 to 3. That's a great opportunity to come find me. Of course, I'm giving that presentation at the community stage at 10:30. I'll be available right after that to say hi. But yeah, I would love to catch up with you there. And that sounds awesome, man. So yeah, absolutely. If you see me flitting around, don't be shy. All right, so now after Dover Motor Speedway, we want to be doing a 321, and our goal is to join. And we got the Sassafras River that comes in. If we hit the Sassafras River to the Chesapeake, we're going to be in this restricted airspace. But if we join where the Elk River comes into the Chesapeake, we'll be north and east of that restricted airspace. So I definitely want to be careful about flying this 321 and not joining the Sassafras River, but joining the Elk River. Sassafras might be this one here that goes straight off to the west. And the Patuxent Naval Air Test Center, or no, Phillips Army Airfield will be over there, perhaps. If anything, if we aren't sure, I feel like I want to miss it to the right. I'd rather miss it to the right because we don't have anything up in here in terms of restricted or airspace or controlled airspace. Well, if I miss it to the left, I'm going to be in this delta and in this restricted airspace. So I definitely want to. I'm not sure exactly where I am. I want to cheat a little bit to the 330 side rather than accidentally miss it to the left. Because there's a number of little tributaries that come into the Chesapeake Bay, and they can all kind of look the same if you're not 100% certain which one you're looking at. Let me take a peek at this. Oh, nice. These pins that VATSIM Brazil are going to be giving out. That's really, really cool, man. Really, really cool. Hopefully I'll come home with one. You can't see it. You can't see it, but over my right shoulder there's this set of shelves here, and I've got a collection of all kinds of flight sim and aviation paraphernalia. I wonder if I've got a picture of it. Yeah, okay, so this isn't the most recent, but this is basically what I have over my right shoulder. But just a collection of all the flight sim paraphernalia that I've accumulated over the years. My badges from previous flight sim expos, the Virtual USA Flying Club hats, just little trinkets from the Bayport Aerodrome, little business cards from some of our streamer friends. Got flight simulators, patch there, cups that were made for myself and my wife at one of our visits to CDC Live. We got the mugs from the Flying Club. Got the mugs from Sim Market over here. Shot glasses from various different places, and the United Eric Flight, another streamer. Yeah, so all kinds of stuff that I've got kind of collected on that shelf there, and I would love to have a new addition for that collection. flip that back over to the Lancaster VOR. So it looks like this river coming in from the north and east. But I think this is the Sassafras. That's the one that kind of puts us into that restricted airspace. This one here that comes in more from the north and east, I think, is the Elk. Yeah, I could look at this. Look at this. You got this little Y shoot, this little V, this little fork, and then a wider part that goes in. And I can see this exact. We're right over here, top of Chesapeake City, and so I'm well north of this restricted airspace now. So I can now look for the Susquehanna coming off to the north and west, and I should be able to aim straight for it, and we should be fine. And I would say that's probably it right in front of us here. I will, once I get leveled out and on a consistent heading, I am going to do another calibration of the directional gyro. Let me move the arrow and heading bug out of the way, just get them turned. Let me just steer exactly a 320 right now, and then let's see how that compares to what's on the magnetic compass. This is about a 315 up here, so let's now make those match. Alright, so if I'm tracking about a 315 and I'm following the Elk River in, and then that's going to put me right on the Susquehanna on the other side, does that look about right? I think it does. It does. Oh, this might be the fork that I was looking at here. So the peninsula that I'm just about to fly over top of, probably this one to the left of Odessa. And then I got one more peninsula that kind of comes down to the south. But as long as I stay to the right of that, I should be fine in terms of avoiding that restricted airspace. And then this almost definitely is in a wider section to the left, and then the Susquehanna River comes off to the west. Yeah, and in that wider section to the left is where that delta airspace is. So I do want to make sure I fly over the southern end of this peninsula and go straight to that river. Stay slightly to the right of it. Yeah, so it looks like the south end of this peninsula comes all the way down and touches that restricted airspace. So this peninsula down here is right on the corner of that restricted airspace. Somewhere right over here is that Phillips Army Airfield, class Delta, and the restricted airspace, which is as I mentioned earlier in the stream, it's a Army munitions testing area called Edgewood Arsenal and Aberdeen Proving Ground. And I used to live near that as a kid. Neighbor that was stationed there. My kindergarten girlfriend's dad was stationed there at Aberdeen. Our next door neighbor. We're well past Dover. I meant to make another call as we exited Dover's Delta to the north and west, but kind of seems like a moot point now. So we'll monitor 22.8. We're also monitoring guard. Still don't have any VATSIM air traffic control in the immediate region. There is Harrisburg approach controller on. but we don't need to talk to them. Looks like by the time we get into their airspace, we're almost going to be in the Delta. So I'm not going to bother with approach. I'm going to just check in directly with the tower control, which, as we mentioned, is our good friend Jeff. 120.9er is his frequency, so we can probably start to hear. It might be a little scratchy. It might not be coming in real clear, but we might start to hear some communications happening if we flip over. No, not scratchy at all. Hear them nice and clearly.
Yeah, sorry, just about there.
Are you packed? Says 26.2. I am not. I will be packing I will be packing up this. Well, I'm taking the computer, right? So pack all this stuff up tomorrow night after work, and then Thursday morning I leave to get on the road. All right, so we're taking this from where we start, 12 and then 11, so that's 12, 22, 23, so 23 miles, and then we're cutting north. Oh, and we can see now that we've got a countdown to the VOR, which is co-located at the airport. So that makes it even easier. But yeah, 26.2, I'll be packing up the computer tomorrow night, and then Thursday morning get on the road. And it's probably about a 7-hour drive, although I'm budgeting 8 for it with meal stop, stretch break, and refueling and all that stuff. But planning to arrive in the area of Providence Thursday at around 5 p.m. Checked in and be looking for a bite to eat and a beverage or 10.
Helicopter,
I'm sure.
Just convert airborne off of the hospital. Yeah, sorry, we were just about to call you. We're airborne. We're like to land at the ramp. Helicopter through.
Other thing we can do while we're getting into the area. We have an ATIS information. Yeah, we do.
Alright, we'll go straight to the ramp and we'll call landing straight.
Information Kilo 300 at 4:30:07 is the altimeter. We can set that right now. I think it's pretty close to what we have set. I think it was 30:08. Yeah, 30:07 is just down, so no big change there.
Okay, landed your own red. So it's visible from the tower, so I think it actually is clear to land, but I also think I was supposed to say use caution, so.
30:07. Landing and departing 26. Okay, so we'll be landing in the westbound direction.
Just one helicopter traffic is going to be at your
rolling it down to the east ramp,
9 to 10 o'clock, 1,000 feet inbound for the
east ramp or west ramp.
I got him, Malicious One. And Malicious One, if you could please pass behind that traffic and then join the downwind.
Your drive 26.2 is longer than that? Well, you're coming in from Boston area, so you shouldn't be longer than that. Yeah, okay. I gotcha. You're being slightly facetious. I gotcha.
Helicopter 3 on Foxtrot landing is at your own risk at ramp, use caution. Landing at the ramp is my own risk, I'll use caution. Helicopter 31 Fox. Kenny Monster, you win again.
Malicious One, the least malicious person on the network.
Lancaster Tower, midfield 26. Would like to do a touch and go and then land on the west ramp, Malicious One.
Alright, so I'm going to get...
Malicious One, runway 26, you're cleared touch and go, and on the go then you can proceed to the ramp, and then landing will be at your own
steer
ramp.
To a 3-3.
26, clear for the option, and landing at the ramp at my risk, Malicious One.
I'm going to point the arrow directly to the VOR just for reference sake. Well, it's not that far to the right, is it? Yeah, okay. So it's still to our north and west, so we're still kind of headed right toward it. Make sure we stay right of the river. And then I'll set the heading bug to 26, which will represent runway heading that we are going to be. Runway heading that we're going to be using. Tom says I'm going to be there tomorrow around noon at Adventure. Okay, yeah, I will miss you tomorrow. I got one more work day to get through.
Are we just able to hover just?
I'm not sure how I'm going to do that.
Field for a minute while they clear that up.
I spend more time than I care to admit surfing Discord today.
We'll stay south of 266 in the center line. We'll wait. We'll give you a call back in a minute. 315.
But yeah, I won't be up there until Thursday dinner time. I got one more full work day to get through, and then we'll get the PC packed up. It's still doing pretty good, about 100 feet high, but we're still cruising pretty well, 4,500. Got 22 on the manifold, 22 on the RPMs, 22 down here on the manifold, 14. That looks like we can enrich just a tiny little bit to get to 14. And how's the fuel load doing? Still plenty of fuel, got looks like 20 in each tank. No, you're currently in Boston, so you're up 26.2's way. Oh yeah, 26.2. Yeah, we had not quite record heat today, but near record heat, near triple digits, right around triple digits all day. Which is not unheard of. We generally, yeah, same here. We generally get close to that a couple times a year, but not usually this early in the season. Not usually all summer. We usually get, we usually hover between 85 and 90 as an average high, and then we have stretches where it's a little cooler, like, high 70s, low 80s, and then we have stretches where it's a little hotter, like mid 90s, and then, rarer stretches where it's closer to 100. But not normally this early in the summer season. Oh, you guys did break 100 today. Yeah, we were not quite that high. We were close though.
And Tower Helicopter 3-1 Fox, we're good to go back over. The vehicle should be gone. Helicopter 3-1 Foxtrot, Roger. You can proceed inbound. Again, landing will be at your own risk. Use caution. There is
so it looks like we're passing by this little bit of a.
We will use caution. Helicopter 3-1 Fox.
A little bit of a tributary here to our right, and then we're going to go a couple miles, and then we'll go ahead and break up to the north. So right around this bend here, I think we got this little glob and then this bend, and I think at that bend is where we'll go ahead and break off to the north. We break right at the apex of that bend. That'll be a 030 essentially. That might be.
Tower signing off. Thanks for the ATC. Malicious one.
Thanks for flying in, buddy. Have a good night.
We might be looking at this earlier bend here. So that would be a 020, 16 miles. Which we have the arrow and the DME that we can cheat with.
Thank you. Tower Skyhawk 129.
If I set that to
10 east of the field.
020, we break off. Right when that centers, that should put us right there at this first bend. Or this might be the first bend here. Well, anywhere there.
Straight in for runway 26.
Anywhere in there. We're 20 miles south, and when we're 10 miles south, we'll check in.
Straight in, runway 26. Skyhawk 129, Alpha Papa.
field elevation there is what? Field elevation there is 400 feet, basically. 403 is what's on the chart. We said 400 round figures. Let's take a refresh of the ATIS information. It's still kilo. Nothing changed. Yeah, so I think this will be that first bend, and then this one here will be that second bend that I was planning on breaking out earlier.
129 Alpha Papa, we'd actually like to declare an emergency. We've got smoke in the cockpit.
Oh, fun. They're good looking.
129 Alpha Papa, understand you're going to be number 1 to the field. You can give me a call when you're on a 4-mile final.
Really going to make Mike
All right,
sweat.
understand number 1. We'll give you a call with a 4-mile final. Scott 129 Alpha Papa.
Really going to make Mike sweat.
Lancaster Tower, helicopter 410, Hotel Alpha is 10 to the north, inbound for the pattern.
Lots of helicopter traffic, too.
Helicopter 410 Hotel Alpha, Lancaster Tower, good evening. Make straight in for runway 26.
They're all saying Lancaster, which is
3007.
bothering me. It's Lancaster.
Straight in for 26, helicopter 0, Hotel Alpha.
Jet 100, welcome to Lancaster. You can taxi via Delta Alpha, the ramp cross runway 31.
I'll check in with the proper
Delta, the ramp cross
pronunciation.
runway 31,
We'll see if they adjust theirs or if they go on butchering it. Once I get turned to north, I also want to go ahead and start descending. Field elevation there 400. I want to kind of work my way down to 1400 in terms of a pattern entry. Kind of want to be at pattern entry, pattern altitude, no later than 4 miles out, typically speaking. Adjust as necessary for terrain and whatnot, but fairly flat in this area, so we should be no trouble getting down to 1400 by 4. Gives us 12 miles to lose that altitude, which should allow us plenty of time. We need to lose 3,000 feet, basically. $10 miles to lose 3,000 feet is pretty much perfect. All right.
Helicopter 410 Hotel, if you have traffic at your 12 o'clock, about a mile, 2 miles in front, Cessna 172, same altitude.
Pull the power down.
We have the traffic in sight. We'll maintain separation. Helicopter 0, Hotel Alpha.
Thank you.
RPM's down.
Cessna 129 Alpha Pop, you can disregard
Start
the
that.
4-mile call. I have you in sight now. Wind
Start
2904,
that gentle descent.
runway 26, clear to land.
Runway 26, clear to land, and Lancaster Tower, we are engine out at this point, so we'll see you on the ground. Sky 129.
Roger, good luck. We're all counting on you.
I just want to tell you both, good luck. We're all counting on you.
Okay, Helicopter 410 Hotel Alpha, since that aircraft ahead of you is an emergency aircraft, what I'm going to have you do is maintain traffic pattern altitude, overfly the field, and join the left downwind for runway 26.
I'll join the left downwind for 26, and do you want me at 1,000 or 500 AGL, sir?
If you could do initially 1,000 AGL, and then once you're in the pattern, we can bring it down to 500 for the helicopter pattern.
All right, we'll maintain 1,000 AGL for helicopter 410.
Looks like our directional gyro did drift another 5 degrees or so, maintaining just about a 0 to 0, maybe slightly right of it. Keep bringing the power back. want to start spinning the props up to higher RPM, kind of like downshifting
Lancaster
the
Tower,
car.
this is Cessna 152 November 81 Bravo Zulu. We're on the GA ramp, and we would love taxi to do some pattern work.
Cessna 81 Bravo Zulu, Lancaster Tower, good evening. Runway 26, taxi via Delta, cross runway 31.
Taxi Delta, cross 31, 81 Bravo Zulu.
Lancaster Tower, Comanche 514 Delta Victor, 9 miles south at 3,300 descending for full stop.
And that's Comanche 514 Delta Victor, Lancaster Tower, good evening. Altimeter 3007, enter left downwind for runway 26.
All right, 3007, we got information, Kilo, enter left downwind for 26, 514 Delta Victor. Alright, spinning the props up faster. It'll help us slow down. I'm going to veer to the left so we can kind of enter the downwind
Tower, helicopter 410
off of the
Hotel
45.
Alpha. We're on the upwind leg for 26, and we've lost sight of that aircraft underneath us. We're going to join the left pattern.
410 Hotel Alpha, roger, thank you. You can do an early left crosswind to join the left downwind for runway 26.
All right, we'll turn early to join the left downwind 0 Hotel Alpha.
Get the nose up. Still need to be descending.
Number 734, we're in the uniform to Skyhawk at the east ramp with Kilo taxi to the pattern.
Cessna 734,
27, we need to lose another
Lancaster Tower,
1,300 feet here.
Taxi via Alpha Delta, cross runway 31.
Alpha Delta cross 31 going runway 26 for 4 linear.
Yeah, only because I've got the power way backed out, but I don't have gear and flaps out yet. Well, I'm too fast for that. Actually, gear I can get down below 150, so we can do that now. That'll stop it yelling at us. Plus, that'll help us slow down. Okay, there we go. Full flaps virtual. Hit the follow button. Thank you very kindly. Welcome to the stream. There we go. Below the white arc, we'll get the first notch of flaps in as well. Go ahead and get the fuel pump on.
Helicopter 410 Hotel Alpha, wind 29004, runway 26, clear for the option on the go, make left close traffic.
All right, 26 for the option on the go, left traffic, 0 Hotel Alpha.
I've still got 600 feet to lose.
And 129 Alpha Papa, just hold short of taxiway Delta there for Cessna traffic. There's going to be 2 sets of traffic, so you still have the engine runner?
And then we'll join that left downwind.
Yeah, funny thing, the engine's still running. Skyhawk.
Roger, I'll get you moving here in just a second. And 734 Lima uniform, if you could please hold short of taxiway hotel for me.
Okay, short of hotel, 4 linear.
And
4.8 miles.
Papa, once that 152 clears ahead of you there, you can
Once we get to
taxi
4
Delta
miles, you kind of want to be at
cross runway
1400
31,
pattern altitude.
Bravo Alpha to the ramp.
And then we'll
Delta Hotel cross
swing in and
runway
join that
31,
downwind.
and Bravo to the ramp. Skyhawk 129 Alpha Papa. Hey, thanks for saving the day. Thanks for coming in today. Skyhawk 129 Alpha.
Thanks for coming in today. Kind of a jet pilot cinnamon catchphrase, if you will. Alright, so I'm going to start a turn to join the downwind here. I'm going to detune the VOR because I'm just going to turn the arrow to runway 26 heading and just use that as a nice big visual guide. 8 and 26. There's 1400. We got gear and first notch of flaps. Join that downwind heading. Keep it at 1400 and a reasonable, make 100 miles an hour or so. Since we are now joining the pattern, you guys can start putting some predictions into the chat as far as the vertical descent rate at the moment the wheels touch runway surface. No bot command is necessary for that on this channel. Just a number into the chat, positive or negative. That represents your guesses to the descent rate in terms of feet per minute at the moment the wheels touch runway surface.
At Lancaster Tower,
Minus sign is
November
even
81 Bravo
optional.
Zulu. We'd
We
like
know that
to
you need a
change
descent
our
rate either
clearance
way.
from pattern work just to VFR out to the west for a little bit.
And the closest predictor is going to get an automatic entry into our landing rate raffle, which we normally pull toward the end of the even-numbered months. We're actually going to pull that on July 1st, so a week from tonight. Will be our 7th anniversary event, 7th stream anniversary. So as part of the celebration of that, we'll pull our June landing rate raffle winner. Tonight will be your second to last and last opportunity to enter that drawing. Closest predictor gets that entry. If you get it dead on, we'll get you 2. Alright, so there we are, entering that downwind.
Lancaster Tower, helicopter 410 Hotel Alpha, midfield downwind.
Helicopter 410 Hotel Alpha, runway 26, clear for the option.
26 clear for the option, helicopter 0 Hotel
He's
Alpha.
midfield downwind. I feel like I'm midfield
514
downwind.
Delta Victor. Traffic ahead in the downwind is a helicopter about 500 feet below you. Let me know if you get that traffic sight.
I think he's still low. We don't see him.
514 Delta Victor, no problem. Extend your downwind, I'll call your base.
Roger, we'll extend the downwind. 514 Delta Victor.
Lancaster Tower, Cherokee 585 Romeo Papa. We're out at Alliance with Kilo. Looking to stay in the pattern, ready for taxi.
He's going to break off from below us
585 Romeo Papa.
and join a base
Good
and
evening,
final.
runway 26, taxi via Delta, cross runway 31.
So this will be fun to watch from his standpoint, to watch us enter our pattern basically right over top of the
No problem,
helicopter.
runway 26, taxi via Delta, cross runway 31. Alright, 26 via Delta, crossing runway 31, 5 Romeo Papa.
So he should be coming out from underneath of us and breaking off to his base. See somebody taxiing down there. I don't see a base leg happening below us.
And
Gonna
129
continue
Papa, you're
looking.
clear across runway 31 and then Bravo Alpha to the ramp.
Clear to cross runway 31, Bravo Alpha to the ramp. Skyhawk 129 Alpha Papa.
I still don't see him. I think he should be cutting over toward the runway from somewhere in this area, but I don't see him at all. Maybe that's him.
514 Delta Victor, Cherokee base.
Roger, we see him basically over the numbers. 514 Delta Victor, turn base.
734 Lima uniform, runway 26, line up wing.
Runway 26,
Alright, guys, keep those predictions coming. Kenny said, I landed good. Didn't even register the landing rate. Nice. Got one more notch of flaps to go in. We do have the fuel pump on. We do not yet have
734
landing
uniform,
clearance.
make left close traffic, Port Benfield each time, wind 2904, runway 26, clear for takeoff.
Clear takeoff 26, left traffic and we'll call midfield for the uniform.
Alright, so we got somebody that's cleared to depart.
714 Delta Victor, traffic 172, departing the runway now, wind 2904, runway 26, clear to land.
Clear to land 26. We'll be watching for the departing traffic. 5 for Delta Victor.
He should be no factor.
No. Okay, yeah, I see him rolling now.
Lancaster Tower, good evening. Friendly 157 at the terminal with information. Lima requesting IFR to Pittsburgh.
Alright, flaps full, gears down and
Friendly
green.
157 Lancaster Tower,
Got our
good
landing
evening, clear
clearance.
to the Pittsburgh International Airport.
I don't feel like we're very, very high here. Let's.
VOR, then as filed, maintain
Oh, wow,
3,000,
very,
expect
very high. We're a
8,000
little
1
high.
minutes
We're not
after
doing too
departure.
bad.
Departure frequency is 124.1.
There we are.
Squawk
One red,
7116.
one white. We're good. Let's keep the speed about 80 miles an hour.
Clear to the Pittsburgh International Airport via radar vectors Harrisburg. Maintain 3,000, expect 8,000.
Center up the
10 minutes
view.
after departure, departure 124.1, squawk 7116, friendly 157.
Keep the 80.
Friendly 157, read back correct, advise ready taxi.
Nice and stable.
Loco.
And which way are we turning?
Tower helicopter 410 Hotel Alpha, approach end at 26 on the downwind. We have the traffic on final.
Helicopter 410 Hotel Alpha, number 2 behind that, Comanche traffic. Runway 26, clear for the option.
Behind the
I love these
Comanche,
houses right on
runway
short
26,
final. That
clear
can't
for
be
the
right.
option. Number 2, helicopter 0 Hotel Alpha.
Is that true? Are those really there? Seems like a bizarre placement.
November 20105 Lancaster Tower, good evening.
Good evening, request taxi for run-up Cessna 172 and VFR departure to the north.
And Cessna 20105, Roger. If you're looking to run up, you can use the run-up head. That's going to be at the departure of runway 31. You can turn right.
Smooth reduction of power and
taxiway
smooth
Alpha.
flare.
Let me know when the run-up's complete, and I'll get you going the rest of the way to 26.
Let the speed bleed off.
Turn right on taxiway Alpha for the run-up pad, and we have Kilo, November 20105.
Hey, didn't feel too bad about that.
4 uniform, extend your downwind. I'll call your base. It's going to be spacing for departure.
Little bit of a skim there, but not too bad.
Delta Victor, welcome to Lancaster. You can taxi Hotel, cross runway 31, Bravo, Alpha.
Hotel, cross 31, Bravo, and Alpha, 514 Delta Victor. Hotel is
Delta Victor, just on Bravo, before you make the right turn on Alpha, you're going to give way to a 172 from your right to left if he hasn't passed already.
Okay, when we get to Bravo and Alpha, we'll look for the 172 and give way, 514 Delta Victor. All right. Flaps can be stowed, strobe, landing lights, pitot, and fuel pump off.
Cherokee 585, Romeo Papa, make left close traffic, report the midfield each time, wind 2904, runway 26, clear takeoff.
RPM's down to 1,000, we'll lean it out till it starts to drop.
Left close traffic, Cherokee 5,
We
Romeo
take
Papa.
Hotel straight in. Marked Bravo, which is weird because this is a freeware scenery package. You would think they would have corrected the taxiway signs unless they changed. It's supposed to be called Hotel on this side, but it is Bravo on the far side. Where this joins Alpha, looks like we already had that Cessna pass to our left, so we're good here.
Hey, Tower Bonanza, 157 Charlie X-ray at the east ramp, looking for closed traffic.
And we'll come in right to the east ramp.
Bonanza 157 Charlie X-ray, Lancaster Tower, good evening. Runway 26 taxi via Alpha, Delta, cross runway 31.
Okay, via Alpha, Delta, cross runway 31.
It was weird that all that stuff kind of just popped in. Guess we hit an LOD threshold.
410 Hotel Alpha, traffic's going to be ahead in the downwind. Actually, looks like now he's on the left base for about a 2-mile final for runway 26.
We have that traffic turning base now for helicopter 0 Hotel Alpha. We'll maintain visual separation.
Coming out of the ramp here.
410 Hotel Alpha, thank you. Follow that traffic. You're number 2, runway 26, clear touch and go.
Runway 6, clear touch and go, number 2 behind that traffic, 0 Hotel Alpha.
And just confirm runway 26.
Sorry about that, runway 26 cleared for the option number 2.
Thank you.
Alright, hang on 1 second. One of the helicopters is here to our left. This is a hovering caravan here.
And 17 Charlie X-ray, just give our disregard.
That's a model match. Caravan is what I have set as my default. So who knows what aircraft type that is that it's showing a little higher than the ground. But
Delta cross 31, friendly 1527.
November 20105.
Park right up here in front of the
for departure.
That's 20105.
In front of the main entrance. Diva parking here.
Delta cross runway 31.
Get a nice little screenshot.
Alpha Delta cross 31 November 20105.
Alright, RPM's down to 1,000. Mixed right to where it leans. Yeah, I don't know who was doing all that zooming around on the taxiways. We definitely had somebody kind of drag racing us there for a second. Let's do a couple of things. Let's get a screenshot of us at Lancaster Airport. Post that up in the Flying Club Discord as well as our own. That's a nice one. Then we'll get to your
Cherokee 5 Romeo Papa, you're going to be looking for traffic that's on about a mile and a half.
We'll get your prediction questions settled.
We'll look out for the
That'll
traffic.
be the next thing,
Fenwick,
and then we'll start working our way back out here. There's our screenshot. Copy of that.
And 20105, did you say we were looking for the pattern, or were you departing the area? I forgot which direction, if you said otherwise.
We're departing to the north 20105.
Perfect, thank you.
My Discord. Where we have the Flying Club Discord.
And 5 Romeo Pop, you can start your base turn now. Runway 26, clear touch and go. Clear touch and go, runway 26, turning base now. Cherokee 5 Romeo Papa.
And then let's and then 9, 10, 11, 12, 00, we'll call it 0035. So. Okay, so I got my registration into the event done. Good.
And Tower Bonanza 157 Charlie X-ray.
And then let's figure out who is the winner of our landing rate prediction. Did a little bit of a skim and skip there, but we did register an 85 as we touched down. Got to disregard this. There's an external flight model in the A2A that runs that screws up the G calculation. So disregard that.
How much longer are you going to be on tower, Mr. JPC?
We did have.
I got 1 more hour left for the event, and I got about 1 more hour left.
One little skim and skip there, but 85 was the number that registered. So
radical.
See, sounds like somebody might have gotten
It's
it
not
dead
rigged,
on. Let's
Kinney.
look.
You just lost.
85 from Bed Dave. Did anybody else have it? 96, 60, 43, 42, 173. Yep, Bed Dave gets a double entry for that one. Very cool. Very nice. Okay, let me get that written out. Bed
Mike
Dave.
Tower, Curtis 905
KLNS.
Mike, Mission Kilo, looking to pick up
what are we today? 6, what? 24, I think. Right?
Curtis 905 Foxtrot, Mike, Lancaster Tower, good evening, and you're looking to pick up IFR, show no destination. I see destination is just the intersection, Vinny. That's correct, 5 Fox Mike. Alright, clearance tower request, standby.
Alright, I am going to,
Bands 157 Charlie X, runway 26, line up wait.
That's, well, first of all, since I've got a few things to do here, let's go ahead and get you a nice view of the goings-on at the airport. Oh, very nice.
Extending for the year.
Lancaster, Pennsylvania, Amish country.
We're midfield, and we have that traffic in front of us.
Helicopter 410 Hotel Alpha, thank you. Follow that traffic, extend your downwind.
We'll follow that traffic, stand our
So
downwind
there's
helicopter.
a little bit of a view of the airport as I get a couple of little housekeeping things done here. We are going to, I'm going to go ahead and file, even though we're going to be VFR and JPC won't be able to see this flight plan. Folks on things like flight radar, or the VATSIM radar and VATSPY will be able to see it, so it'll be good to kind of advertise the club. And I know that's why Jet Pilot Cinnamon prefers us to do that. But let's go ahead and put a VFR flight plan in. Matter of fact, I can bring this over.
Charlie X-ray, make left close traffic, wind 2904, runway 26, clear for takeoff.
All right, Tom's out of here. Very good, man. Well, we'll look forward to seeing you. Weight category is light.
Lancaster Tower, helicopter 5331 Foxtrot at the ramp, looking at VFR departure westbound. And 157 Charlie X-ray, if you responded, it wasn't on frequency. Just confirm left close traffic, runway 26, clear for takeoff.
And that's looking to be off block. We can be off block at the top of the hour. 0100, 5500. Airspeed will be 150. KOXB. Alternate will be Salisbury.
Helicopter 5331 Foxtrot, I heard your request, just stand by.
104. Fuel endurance, we're going to call it 0230.
Friendly 157, fly runway heading, wind 2904,
and we're just going to call this VFR southeastbound. Again, it won't be shown in Jet Pilot Cinnamon's scope tools.
Charlie X-ray.
But it'll
We've got some mechanical issues here. We'll see you next time.
157 Charlie X-ray, roger. Sorry to hear that, buddy. 734 Lima uniform, you turn your base.
It'll show up on the mapping tool.
Cherokee 505 Romeo Papa, extend your downwind. You're looking for helicopter traffic ahead in the downwind.
So there we go.
Keeping downwind, and we'll keep an eye out for the traffic.
We'll check on that in just a moment, make sure it propagates to the network okay, but I am going to take a quick break out of the cockpit for a little liquid recycling, and we'll continue to listen to our very good friend, Jet Pilot Cinnamon. And by the way, don't overlook, you can actually check in and watch his vantage point of all this madness if you would like to over on his stream, twitch.tv/JetPilotCinnamon. So if you'd like to, you can open his up in a different tab or split screenish or whatever you'd like to do. But we will take a quick break out of the cockpit for some liquid recycling, and we'll get ready to head on back to Ocean City to close the evening. All right, so sit tight, friends. Be back with you in just a moment with lots of flying left to do. Back in just a second.
Clear for takeoff 26 and departure to North 20105.
Thank you, helicopter number 660, Sierra Bravo, entering airspace, down to Bravo,
Romeo 660 Sierra Bravo, Lancaster Tower, good evening. Enter a left downwind for runway 26.
Left downwind for runway 26, November 66, Sierra Bravo.
And helicopter 533 on Foxtrot, what was your request?
VFR westbound towards Zacatau International.
Helicopter 533 on Foxtrot, departure from the ramp via Joan Ridge, use caution. Advise airborne and westbound departure is approved.
Westbound departure approved. Departure from the ramp at my own risk. I'll advise airborne. Helicopter 31 Fox.
Helicopter 533 on Foxtrot, maintain south of the runway 26 extended center line at all times, please.
We'll stay south of the 26 extended center line at all times. Helicopter 31 Fox.
Friendly 157, departure 124.1.
124.1, good night.
Set to 734 Lima uniform, wind 2904, runway 26, clear touch and go.
Clear touch and go 264 Lima uniform, we'd like to depart straight out on the go.
And 734 Lima uniform, roger, straight out departure on the go is approved.
Straight out departure Lima uniform.
Lancaster Tower is 152, 1 Bravo Zulu. We're coming in from the southwest looking to enter the pattern.
Cessna 81 Bravo Zulu, Lancaster Tower, enter left downwind for runway 26.
Left downwind 26, 1 Bravo.
Helicopter 410 Hotel, you still have the Cessna traffic in sight, that's on a 2-mile funnel?
Affirmative, we have that traffic in sight. Helicopter 0 Hotel Alpha.
Helicopter 0 Hotel Alpha, number 2 following that traffic, runway 26, clear touch and go.
Alright, behind that traffic, we're actually looking for a full stop for 26.
Helicopter 410 Alpha, Hotel Alpha, wind 2904, runway 26, clear to land.
Alright, runway 26, clear to land, number 2 behind the Cessna, Helicopter 0 Hotel Alpha.
585 Romeo Papa, you can turn your base. Turning base, 5 Romeo Papa. Helicopter 551 traffic's going to be at your 12, 11 o'clock, about 2 miles, Cessna 152 at 2,200.
That's the traffic in sight, 31 Fox.
31 Fox, thank you, maintain visual separation from that set.
Maintain visuals.
Cessna 81 Bravo, you'll have helicopter traffic off your, we'll call it 11 to 10 o'clock now. About a mile at 1,400 has you in sight. He'll maintain the visual.
All right, roger that. We'll keep an eye out for him.
Number 585 Romeo Papa, you're number 3 to the field. You're following helicopter traffic. That is a full stop. Wind 2904, runway 26, clear touch and go. Clear touch and go, runway 26, number 3, Cherokee 5 Romeo Papa. Number 20105, frequency change approved. If you'd like to pick up flight following, it's on 124.1.
Frequency change approved and 24.1, 20105, thank you.
Cessna 81 Bravo Zulu, extend downwind. I'll call your base. You're going to be looking for Cherokee traffic. It's on about a 4-mile final.
All right, extend downwind. You'll call the base. I'll look out for the Cherokee.
Ready to taxi. And for 1 Bravo Zulu, was it a full stop or touch and goes?
It's going to be touch and goes. So we're going to pattern work.
Excellent, thank you. Helicopter 5331 Foxtrot, frequency change approved. See ya. See. Helicopter 410 Hotel Alpha, welcome to Lancaster. You can hover taxi to the ramp via Delta, cross runway 31, and then Alpha.
All right, taxi to the ramp, or hover taxi to the ramp, Delta, cross 31, then Alpha for Helicopter 0 Hotel.
81 Bravo Zulu, you can turn your base. Wind 2904, runway 26, clear, touch and go. On the go, make left close traffic.
Okay, turn base and then cleared runway 26 on the touch and go, make left traffic, 1 Bravo Zulu.
Lancaster tower, helicopter November 660 Bravo, we've identified the field in Edward Space Lake for Lancaster and approximately 10.
Helicopter 660 Sierra Bravo, roger. Looks like you're going to be more, you can enter left base now. Left base for runway 26 from your present position.
Enter left base for runway 26, helicopter November 660 Sierra Bravo.
Number 734, leave me informed, frequency change approved.
Bye-bye for everything in your part.
Good night.
And tower Curtis 5 Foxtrot Mike's ready to taxi IFR.
Curtis 5 Foxtrot Mike, runway 26, taxi via Alpha, Bravo, cross runway 31, Hotel, Delta.
Alright, friends, back with you. Thanks for your
Delta
patience.
Bravo, cross runway 31, Delta 5 Foxtrot
We are
Mike.
live from Studio 5 just outside of Ocean City, Maryland. In the sim, we're at Lancaster, Pennsylvania. We're getting ready to return to Ocean City, Maryland. We are participating in an event where we are trying to make Mike sweat. Our good friend Jet Pilot Cinnamon is working Lancaster Tower. He told all of the members of the Virtual USA Flying Club, bring it, whatever you got. We've had helicopters, we've had VFR, we've had IFR, we've had an emergency, we've had all kinds of fun stuff. For our purposes, we just did a VFR flight from Ocean City, Maryland up the Delaware coast, and then along the Delaware River, and then across the Chesapeake Bay, and then the Susquehanna River, in order to make our way up here. And we're just basically going to retrace our steps back. So for those of you who missed the beginning of the stream, where I gave a nice tour of the Delaware Beach resorts in Ocean City, Maryland, we'll get that same tour in reverse on the way back home, okay? So let us get back into the aircraft. It's the A2A Simulations Piper Comanche. Very well, thoroughly modeled general aviation aircraft. Probably one of the best general aviation aircrafts modeled for Flight Sim 2020. And by the way, we are still in Flight Sim 2020, not 2024 for this sim. I'm still hesitant to get into Flight Sim 2024 until I know that all of the worst of the kinks have been worked out, although it's starting to sound like that might be the case. Fewer people are reporting major issues with the sim now, and there's a number of good aircraft that are reported to be working for it. Oh, we got a raid coming in. It's Be the Gamer 2 from YouTube. Be the Gamer 2 YT, I assume that means YouTube. But Be the Gamer, thanks so much for the raid. We appreciate you joining us, and those of you coming over from the Be the Gamer stream. We are in the A2A simulations Piper Comanche. We are getting ready to fly from Lancaster, Pennsylvania, and we're going to depart VFR to the southeast and head back to my home airport of Ocean City, Maryland. We are here at Lancaster now for a virtual USA Flying Club event called Make Mike Sweat. Our very good friend Jet Pilot Cinnamon, a.k.a. Mike, is working Lancaster Tower. He invited all of the club members to come and just give him as much and as varied a amount of traffic as possible. So if you want to check out the VATSIM air traffic control stream that he's running, that you're able to hear on the radios right now, but you're able to see and hear from his vantage point if you would like to by checking out his stream. Run both in concurrence if you would like to. But that's what's going on. We're heading back down to Ocean City, Maryland to close out the night. Can't wait to see you land at that airport. Yeah, it's my virtual home airport. As a matter of fact, I work not directly for it, but I work for the department which manages it. So very good friends with the guy who manages that airport down there in Ocean City. So nice approach right over the water. Well, it depends. I think we took off 1-4, which departs out over the sand. So we'll end up doing a left pattern entry right over the beach, and then we'll land heading eastbound, kind of pointed back toward the beach when we land, if the wind hasn't shifted from when we took off there. But anyway, we are at Lancaster, Pennsylvania, Amish country, up here about an hour north and west. By the way, I guess I can show it to you on Sky Vector. This was our path in. So we took off from Ocean City. We went north, right up the coast, and I kind of gave a tour because I live right over here where the word street pattern is, and I work in the city. I'm here full time year round, so I was kind of giving a tour of the Maryland coast and then the Delaware Beach resorts all the way up to Rehoboth and Cape Henlopen and Lewis. And then we kind of followed the shore of the Delaware Bay. We passed right over top of Dover Air Force Base and Dover Motor Speedway. Monster Mile, as you NASCAR fans know it. And then we took the Chesapeake. We crossed over the Chesapeake and followed the Susquehanna River up to this point where we came up to the airport. So we're basically just going to trace this path in reverse, but just so I don't confuse myself, I will plot it. Going southbound now, KLNS to KOXB, and I'll kind of just drag a few guide points here. Not that we have to follow this route strictly. Our filed route literally just says VFR southeastbound, so we're not bound to any specific nav aids or routes or anything like that. But we certainly can just put in some points to approximate what we're going to do for our own purposes. And that also is helpful because it gives us a good sense of the mileage that we're going to cover.
And we are clear to land. Look up the 660 Sierra Bravo.
And then we'll just drag one more point out here to represent that we're going to kind of come down, and then we'll cut in, and then who knows what our pattern entry is going to look like. It's going to depend on which direction we land on. But that is essentially the planned path that we are going to take, and let's get to it. Be the Gamer says we just did Vegas to Burbank and back. That is, oh yeah, Burbank is a really nifty airport. It's the original Los Angeles airport. What was it called back in the day? Lockheed Air Terminal, before it became known as Burbank Bob Hope. It was once the major international operation moved from there over to LAX. That was the main airport in Southern California. So. Very interesting place, and it's like how the terminal kind of butts right up against the taxiway, which butts right up against the runway. Very space limited there. Neat place and interesting kind of layout. And then of course Vegas, it's always beautiful landing right there next to the Strip. All right, let's jump back into the plane, friends. Let's get to it here. And we'll definitely want to do a run-up when we get down to the end, since we've been sitting here idling, although I do have the mix leaned out pretty far, so hopefully we didn't build up too many carbon deposits on those plug tips, but we'll do a check of that once we get down to the end of the runway. All right, I had said off block would be right at the top of the hour, and I think we're good for that. Let me get back to my little flow list here to make sure that I'm not missing anything before we get rolling. Let's get the takeoff flaps
traffic, helicopter,
and trim.
It's an R66 on about a mile final for runway 26. We'll look up for the traffic 5 Rehoboth.
Okay. And everything else is good. Yeah, all that other stuff is good. We will just do a run-up when we get down there. So, flaps and trim. Minimum departure fuel, 32 gallons. And I think we've got, as long as we got 16 in each, yeah, we're good. We got about 18 in each.
Cherokee 5,
so we're all set.
Following that traffic, number 2, runway 26.
Parking brake is off.
Clear Tessica, runway 26, following the traffic, 5 Romeo Papa.
Let me get spun around. Look, we get the airport diagram up in front of us. Figure out what taxi instructions we're going to get. We are at, I guess we're at this terminal here near Alpha. So we'll see if we get taxi via Bravo and Hotel and Delta out to the end, or if we get Alpha and Delta out to the end from here. Kind of draw it as we get it so that you guys can follow along if you're playing along at home.
And by Council Tower, Cherokee 5, Romeo Papa, our next lap here is going to be a full stop.
Hope to see an EFSCO, yeah. Check out the show schedule. Down underneath the About tab, you'll see where I'm going to be, when I'm going to be there all weekend in Providence. So yeah, Be the Gamer, definitely come up and say hi to me. I said earlier, I'm not shy. I know that sometimes you recognize me, I don't recognize you if I don't know you that well. But I'm pretty recognizable. I'm a pretty big dude. I'm hard to miss. So if you see me, come up, say hi, grab my hand, throw a hug around me, whatever you want to do. I am not at all shy about that. That does not bother me in the least. So definitely come and make yourself known if you happen to see me up there, man. All right, very good. Safe travels getting up and back, and hope to catch up with you this weekend.
Cross runway, and then via Bravo to the stand. Helicopter 66, 660, Sierra Bravo.
Lancaster Tower, Comanche 5 and 4 Delta Victor. We're between the terminal and the east ramp, getting ready to taxi for VFR southeastbound departure. We're using real weather, yes, but not real time.
4 Delta Victor, Lancaster Tower, good evening. Runway 26, taxi via Alpha, Delta, cross runway 31.
All right, Alpha and Delta, cross runway 31 out to runway 26, 5 and 4 Delta Victor. Yes, using real weather, yes, not real time. If I plan it correctly, I should land back at my home airport just as the sun's starting to set. All right, so if we're going, should be turning northbound to go north and westbound on Alpha and then to Delta. I do need to, while we're on the roll, I do need to recalibrate the directional gyro. That's probably now 10 degrees out of whack or thereabouts. And we were told to cross, so we don't have to ask him again. Let's make sure we're not turning at all. Looks like we're at a 6, we're at about a 7.5 here. We're a couple degrees off, but not too bad. And on course for us initially is about a 210. So we got the arrow set to runway heading.
Clear touch and go, 1 Bravo Zulu.
Let's set the green bug to a 210. We will, as I said, need a run up.
Lancaster Tower, Cherokee 5, Romeo Papa.
Down at the end.
Lancaster wind still showing 290 at 4.
2904, thanks, 5 Romeo Papa.
Alright. Flaps and trim, did I do that? Yeah. Okay. Brakes a little bit. I'll get going up too fast here.
Lancaster Tower, Cessna 739er Bravo November with information Kilo. Request taxi to runway for pattern work.
Cessna 739 Bravo November, Lancaster Tower. Good evening, runway 26, taxi via Delta, cross runway 31.
Lancaster.
Runway 26, taxi via Delta, cross runway 31, Cessna 739er Bravo November.
Cherokee 5 Romeo Papa, traffic ahead in the downwind is Cessna 152.
Look out for the traffic 5 Romeo Papa.
Actually, 5 Romeo Papa, extend your downwind, I'll call your base to release spacing for departure.
Extend downwind for 5 Romeo Papa.
514 Delta Victor, we're going to need a run up actually.
514 Delta Victor, no problem. I still have traffic on a 2-mile fine anyway. I bet by the time you're done, it'll work out.
Okay. Okay, I see the traffic on final. All right, well, let's do our run up as quickly as we can. Okay, I'm going to leave the mixed lean for now. We'll run 2,000. We'll pull the prop lever down 3 times and back. So while we have the power up and the mixed lean, that will help us because we'll burn off any carbon. We'll burn off some of the carbon deposits that are formed at least, maybe not all. But it should help us clear the plug tips if they have become fouled in that way while we're riding. Mix now comes full rich. We're going to test the carb heat. We should see a drop in RPMs there. Yes, we do. Okay, back to 2,000. Let's do a mag check. Left mag. Whoops, let's get it to 2,000 first of all. Left mag. Okay, we see almost exactly 100 drop. Okay, back to both 2,000. Okay, right mag only. Same, about 100 drop. Okay, we're good. We're within spec. We are good. And Lancaster Tower 514 Delta Victor, we are ready to depart.
514 Delta Victor, thank you. Traffic should be landing momentarily. I'll get you going.
All right.
5 Romeo Papa, you can turn your base.
Turning base 5 Romeo Papa.
Can't quite see him from this vantage point, but expect that he should be appearing in front of us any second. And if we need to line up and wait, and up there he is.
Comanche 514 Delta Victor, runway 26, line up and wait.
We'll line up and wait, 26, 514 Delta Victor. Okay, we're taking the runway, strobes will come on. We can get pitot and fuel pump as well. Just not going to do the forward-facing lights just yet until we get the takeoff clearance. That way, anybody crossing downfield sees us sitting here will know that we're not yet rolling.
Comanche 514 Delta Victor, the southwestbound departure approved. Wind 2704, runway 26, clear for takeoff.
Height southwest approved and clear for takeoff 26, 514 Delta Victor. Alright, where we go?
Cherokee 585 Romeo Papa, wind 2704, runway 26, cleared to land.
Clear to land, runway 265 Romeo Papa.
Alright, airspeed is alive. We get up to 80 miles an hour. Lift her off the runway nice and gentle. We do have positive climb, however, with a plane like this, you kind of want to leave the gear extended until you're sure you don't need to return to the pavement. We're going to pitch for 105 in the climb out. Field elevation here about 400, so when we get to 800 we can start maneuvering, turning, and all that stuff. Okay, gear can come in now. Flaps can come in, fuel pump can come off. Go ahead and start our turnout. I'm going to ease the RPMs off the red line, bring it to about 24. Manifold to about 24. And keep it pitched for about 105 in the climb. Okay, our on course is that green arrow, the 210 compass heading, thereabouts. Oh, we got traffic right in front of us here. Climbing over top of them.
Cessna 739 Bravo November, just refresh my memory, you were looking for close traffic, correct?
Alright, and we are headed down to join the river, so keep that 210 heading until we get down to the Susquehanna.
739 Bravo November, runway 26, line of wait.
Line of wait, Cessna 9 Bravo November.
Doing well now. Pitch for 105 in the climb out. That's our VY.
Cherokee 505 Romeo Papa, you make the left turn on Hotel, cross runway 31.
RPM's 24, manifold 24.
Left turn, Hotel.
Pitch for 105 and flying the 210.
Ramp 5 Romeo Papa.
We're pretty much outside the Delta now. Well,
739 Bravo November, make left close traffic.
Delta goes to 2900.
26, clear for takeoff.
So we're not quite laterally out of it, because we're 3 miles from the airport, not 4.
Testing 1 Bravo Zulu, runway 26, clear touch and go.
But we are now above the Delta. We've climbed out of the top of
clear
it.
touch and go, A1 Bravo Zulu.
So he may or may not give us a frequency change.
Tower, be advised, we got,
once we're clear of the Delta, we can change frequencies
Wild Broncos, you say?
if we would like to.
A whole herd of them out here.
You never know what you're going to find in Lancaster, PA, apparently. Thank you for the report.
It is Amish country. They've got horses up there. Laps up, gear up. 2400. 24 on the manifold. Pitch for 105, flying 210. And 5,500 is the target altitude. But we are definitely outside. We're 5 miles from the airport. The Delta goes out to 4 miles. We're now well above the top of the Delta, which goes to 2,900, and we're at 4,500. So once the tower controller on a visually managed departure for a VFR aircraft, they don't really give you that frequency change necessarily. Once you're sequenced out of the runway, it's kind of on you, so. We'll keep it tuned to our good friend Jet Pilot Sentiment's radio frequency, just so we can hear the rest of the antics. He's running the event for another 15 to 20 minutes. But the window was 9:30 local time, so another not quite 20 minutes. Sounds like the activity level's starting to kind of die off as well anyway, so. Alright, so we're coming up on 5,500 VFR southeast bound. Well, we're southwest bound for the moment, but once we join the river, we'll be south and eastbound, so we will go ahead and we'll be at our appropriate VFR altitude for that direction once we get turned here at the water. I'm going to level out. We're going to get the power down to 22, RPMs down to 22, and we're going to leave the mix down to 14 gallons an hour.
739 Bravo November, runway 26, clear touch go.
Clear touch and go, runway 26. That's the
26.6. My issue is I have buses on the runway. So he's got Broncos. I kind of assumed he meant the horses. He may have meant the Ford SUVs. I don't know.
100 IFR to Columbus. Jet 100 Lancaster Tower. Good evening again. Cleared to the Columbus Airport.
We're still picking up picking up altitude.
3,000. Expect flight level 3401 minutes after departure.
Trim down, and we'll get back down to 5,500.
4.1. Squawk 7122.
And then we're going to join the river south and eastbound. Now, on the return, I've got to stay left of the river. And the reason for that is we need to stay north of the restricted airspace by Providence, Aberdeen Proving Ground, and north of the Delta. Well, we're above the Delta at Phillips Army Airfield, so we don't have to worry about that. Because we didn't have to worry about it on the way in either. We were above it.
Lancaster Tower, Cherokee 26 November is 10 miles from the
The
airport.
restricted airspace, I think, goes up to 18,000, though. So we do want to stay left, center on the river, but left as we come out. I guess centered on the river is fine.
26 November, thank you. Make straight in for runway 26, report a 4 mile final.
So that's not a big deal.
Straight in for
that.
runway 26, report 4 mile final for 26 November.
But we will, instead of having to go straight out to the water and then, cutting a sharp turn, we'll just kind of gradually cut the corner here. We'll just very slightly trim down to get back to that 5,500. And then we're following the Susquehanna River the rest of the way down through Pennsylvania, and then right there where it comes out at Havre de Grace, Maryland, and rejoins the top end of the Chesapeake Bay. We did a river run series. We're currently doing a river run series in this aircraft down the Rio Grande. Come back to that about once a month. We did a river run series down this very river, the Susquehanna River, and then we joined the Chesapeake and followed that out all the way to the Atlantic a couple seasons ago. It was a fun one. Kind of got to fly through a lot of my home area. This is my home area, by the way. When we land at Ocean City, Maryland Airport, we're landing about 15 minutes from home for me. And as a matter of fact, essentially fly right over my neighborhood to get there. And as I mentioned at the beginning of the stream, we kind of gave you a tour of the Delaware coastal resort beach towns and Maryland's singular coastal resort beach town, which is where I live and work. But for those of you who missed the beginning of the stream, I'll give you that tour again on the way back to the airport.
Fairmont 410 Hotel Alpha, roger, stand by for now. I do have traffic going to be departing off for runway 26 here shortly, and then I'll get you moving.
Roger, let's see how we're doing here. RPM's just above 2,200. I'll edge it down just a tiny little bit.
You're going to be looking for
manifold pressure just above 22. We'll get that down. Looks like the gallons per hour is right there settled in at 14, and fuel remaining just about 15 gallons per side, so we're good. So we lean this to 14 gallons an hour, and at cruise, that means we've got 2 hours of fuel left with just about 1 hour to fly, so we're in good shape fuel-wise.
Fairmont 410 Hotel Alpha, parking from the airport at your own risk, use caution, wind 2704, advise airborne in, the northbound departure is approved.
Alright, northbound approved. Departure right from the ramp, Mount Mary Rest, will report airborne, experimental 0 Hotel Alpha.
So now not only does he have a helicopter, he's got an experimental helicopter.
26 November reporting 4 mile final.
Cherokee 26 November, wind 2704, runway 26 clear to land.
Runway 26 clear to land. November 26 November.
Yeah, again, I know we put this into the stream chat a few times, but if you want to see our tower controller's vantage point of working this traffic that he's working, there's the link for that. And I will probably watch his stream back tomorrow to see how it went from his vantage point. Listen to him curse about my pattern entry. Actually, I think my pattern entry all went fine this time. I don't think I did anything unusual. I remember we did a Make Mike Sweat. Was it at Reading? It was somewhere else in this general vicinity. And I remember that something went on where I was given a downwind. It wasn't clear that I was supposed to extend. So I kind of went, hey, you know what? He didn't say to extend, so I'm going to cut it in. And I was like, well, okay. Guess I probably shouldn't have.
Your base, you're going to be number 2. Wind 2704.
Can't remember how it worked out, but I wound up coming in right in front of somebody, but I had enough space that it was close, but was doable. That aircraft, whoever it was able to land behind me. But something about the communication, I don't remember how it worked out exactly. Something about the communication was not quite clear, and I was like, well, I guess I'm going to turn in. And as it turned out, he was not expecting me to do that. So I don't remember how it came out that way. I mean, normally if they give you enter a downwind, you can turn base and final your discretion unless he gives you something else. I think maybe he had me do, I think this is what it was. He had me do a 360 for spacing, and I had rejoined the downwind. Implicit in that is that, you know, you should check in to see if he wants you to kind of resume the pattern. But I didn't assume. I went ahead and just, or no, I didn't check in. I just kind of assumed that since I had rejoined the downwind, I was good to go ahead. And wound up turning in right in front of somebody. I think it worked out something like that.
November, Roger, wind 2704, runway 26.
Anyway, everything went much more smoothly this time. Up ahead to our right, we can kind of see, I think we can see the flashing lights. This is Phillips Army Airfield. This is the northern side of the Army installation where they do munitions testing here. And they do on Armed Forces Day, they do an open house where they do have the museum tours and base tours, and they bus you around, and there is a live fire demonstration that they do on one side of the base. But this is the airport here, Phillips Army Airfield.
Cross runway 31 and Bravo to the ramp.
And it'll be Bravo and Alpha.
So that's what we're seeing here off to the right. As long as we stay over the river, and not through the woods, but over the river and then straight across where Elk River comes into the bay, then we're going to be north of the Delta, but we're well above it as well. But we're also north of that restricted airspace. The Delta ends at 2,600 feet. The restricted airspace, I believe, goes up to 18,000.
Okay, set you 100. Once that Cherokee traffic is clear, you can continue down.
We're gonna take this spot where Susquehanna joins. We're gonna make sure we're on more of a 140 heading, not a 160 heading. Catch in, so I think this is the Elk River over here, so we kind of want to veer off to the left. If we veer to the right and we catch this next tributary, that's Sassafras River, that's down here, but in doing so, we'll be cutting across this corner of the restricted airspace, and we don't want to do that. Good Fixins is checked back in. How are you, Mr. Good Fixins? It's just a couple more days. Yes, indeed, sir. We're talking earlier in the stream that tomorrow after work, I get to pack up the PC and the monitor, one of the two big monitors, and then the mini monitor.
Tower, 1 Bravo Zulu down and clear.
So we'll take one of the big ones, and then our stream monitoring monitor will go with us as well, and the tower, of course, and the mic and camera, and the mouse and keyboard. That should be about it, I think. But all that stuff will be getting into the car tomorrow night, and then Thursday morning I will be departing here to head north and drive on up to Providence. About a 7-hour drive for me from Maryland's eastern shore. 7-hour drive up through Delaware, and then we'll join the turnpike and then head up from there. So about 7 hours on the road, driving up and arriving there in town around 5 p.m. on Thursday. I am anticipating a pretty good time. So Good Fixin says, I gotta do the laundry and pack tomorrow. My flight leaves at 5:10 a.m. on Thursday. So you gotta get out of the house plenty early. But you should be getting up there Thursday dinner time as well, it sounds like. So definitely look for me for
For the 739 Bravo November, welcome to
bite to eat and a beverage or two.
Left turn on Hotel, then cross runway 31 Bravo Alpha.
Left turn Hotel, cross runway 31, then Alpha for 739 Bravo November. See ya.
Radio check. Morning 3270 Zulu, loud and clear. How do you hear me?
Obviously not well, since he stepped on another guy.
Lancaster Tower, I want you to know that you have wildlife on your taxiways. Just wanted you to know that.
A1 Bravo Zulu, yeah, I had that report before, thank you. Interesting things here, Lancaster.
Oh, okay, scheduled to land about 1:30, and then you're taking the train from the airport to downtown. Okay, very cool. So yeah, you'll be in somewhere around dinner time. It sounds like, and yeah, definitely get in touch, man.
Runway heading with 2704, runway 26, clear for takeoff.
Definitely get in touch. Anybody that's curious, anybody that's heading up to Flight Sim Expo, my more or less complete itinerary is listed down underneath the show schedule portion of the under the About tab. Also over on our Discord server, so certainly keep tabs on what's going on and make sure you catch up with me. So we're about a 150 over this river, which comes out and makes this little fork. And I believe we said this was near Chesapeake City, Delaware. There's the Elk River. Yeah, it comes up, makes this fork, and then we should see this Summit Airport. But I'm going to try and keep on about a 140. Summit Airport will be off to our left. We'll keep on about a 140 and head back toward Dover. Katie Muster's heading out. All right, very good, very good. So this actually is, I think that's what I was just describing. Ahead then, there's another river that turns.
I know it's Amish country, man, but you gotta do something about these horses.
We'll get airport opposite, get the shotgun out.
Okay, so I think this is...
Oh, Jesus, not the shotgun, bro.
Just to make the noise, not to actually shoot at them. Everybody calm down. Radio check.
555.
There you go, 327 Sierra Zulu, Lancaster Tower, good evening.
Alright, one thing I do need to do here, let's...
At the restaurant, reposition Henry Weber.
And that's going to be... Is that the north hangars there off the taxiway Foxtrot?
Negative.
So I'm steering at 150. Looks like we're getting about a 143 here, so we'll crank this down.
One second, let me see if I can try and remember where that is.
Hot shot.
Oh, they're okay. Alright, Mooney 3270 Zulu, you can reposition via
R6, did I take off right before Jeffrey? I believe I did, Chavez. I believe I did.
Alpha.
He was an experimental helicopter. He lifted. I don't think it was just before him. I think I had already left the Delta and joined to the Susquehanna south and eastbound by the time Jeffrey got airborne.
Is that where the annual is happening?
Now, when I was
yes.
I had a feeling.
when I was coming in, we wound up both joining a left downwind midfield right around the same time. He was at helicopter pattern altitude at 500 above
100 and we're global down the Gulf Stream.
Above the field, and I was at piston aircraft pattern altitude of 1,000 above the field. So we were kind of right there, stacked on top of each other, coming in. So over here to our left, we can kind of see there's this town here, and the canal, sea and is that the, I'm sorry, Chesapeake and Delaware Canal here, and then Delaware Bay, Delaware River that becomes Delaware Bay. So if I look on the sectional, I'm looking over here. So hopefully have missed this airspace well to the north. We could, in theory, we could tune in this Smyrna VOR to track our progress toward Dover Air Force Base, but I don't think we need to do that. I think we can eyeball it visually here. 22 on the RPMs, 22 on the manifold, 14 on the fuel flow. Everything looking good. Plenty of fuel, still 15 in each side, so that's at 14 an hour. That's just over 2 hours of fuel there, so we're golden. And then kind of coming back the same way we came up, and that was over Over Dover. We were over Dover. Flyer Studios definitely wants to get a sugar-free Red Bull autographed by me. Well, that'd be silly. And then you consume it, goes right in the recycle bin. You don't need an autograph from me, man. You've hung out with me plenty of times. I'm just a dude who plays computer games in the spare bedroom, man. Don't make it more than it is. Alright, anyway. So we are definitely following the coast of the Delaware Bay here. We would expect very soon to see Dover Air Force Base. I believe this is Delaware 1 that we're starting to pick up and follow, so we should also be seeing Dover Motor Speedway coming up again soon. We'll be crossing over top of Dover Motor Speedway on about a 4-mile final to the airport. Again, the airport in question, Dover Air Force Base. So we're not landing there. But actually, this is kind of the path I'll be taking. Coming from my home area down here on the eastern shore of Maryland, and we'll be taking this very highway up to the left, and then up to the top end of
23270 Zulu Lancaster Tower, runway 26 taxi.
Top end of the Delaware Bay, and then over the Delaware Memorial Bridge to catch the bottom end of the New Jersey Turnpike. So that'll be this will be kind of my driving path to Providence that we're looking at right now. I'm gonna be on that road on Thursday.
Alpha Bravo, Hotel clear across 31 Delta. That's good.
Let's see if I can corroborate my position here. It's machined, or IT machined. Or IT machine ed. Messing with you. Welcome, good to see you. Pleasure to make your acquaintance. It looks like, okay, here we go. It looks like we are somewhere right around this Bombay Hook National Wildlife Refuge. We got a little squiggly river coming in. We got a couple little squiggly, a little bit of a bay, and then a little stream, and then a kind of a wider squiggly river coming in. So let's see if that's indeed lining up with what I'm seeing. Maybe I'm further north yet. Not quite as far south as I thought. What time did we take off? We took off about 5 after 9, so we're only about halfway back to Ocean City, Maryland here. Okay, I can kind of see there's a bend. Okay, maybe I think this is that wildlife refuge. And then this is like the shoreline kind of bends outward and then inward and then outward again. And I think that outward and then inward and outward again. And I think that on that inward bend is where we find the Air Force Base. So we should be coming kind of over top of Smyrna. We might see this Delaware Air Park off to our right. We see that. The Monster Mile should be just south of that. Let's be looking out our right-hand window here. Definitely coming into more populated airspace. Okay, yeah, here we go. So there's Dover Motor Speedway. Monster Mile, as they call it. We're coming in from the north. Coming in from, I can't remember. We're coming in, so this is, we're looking at the long straights. And we're looking at the apex of the 1, 2, 3, 4. I can't remember which way it's oriented. I think if that's the grandstand there, then that's 1 and 2, and we're on the 3 and 4 side. But just then, okay, yeah, here we go. So there's Dover Motor Speedway, and then just south of that is Dover Air Force Base. So what I can do right now, we're at 5,500, so we're well above the Delta airspace here. But we can tune in the CTAF 2635, and we'll just give a traffic call for anybody else that might be in this airspace, and which on VATSIM is nobody, of course, we know that. But just, you know, just for the practice, 2635, is that what I said? Slap that over there. Dover traffic, Comanche 514 Delta Victor is transiting the airspace north to south, 5,500 over top of the Dover class Delta. Dover. Yeah, so as I was looking for those bends in the coastline, that's what I was trying to get a reference to, was the Air Force Base there, Chavez. We definitely did see that on the way up. Of course, we saw the Air Force Base first, and then saw the race course, or the oval. Obviously, we're doing it in the opposite direction this time. Should be right on top of the Smyrna VOR at this point, basically. That is on 111.4, so I'm going to swap that back in. Distance should be almost nothing. Yeah, 1.9. And we're kind of passing it, so. But as we come over top of the airport, we will be about 5 miles. We can see the Delta goes out to 4 miles, and we can see that the VOR is another mile past that. So we know that once we're at 5 miles, we're basically right over top of the airport. Once we're at 9 miles, we're on the south edge of the Delta. So once we're at 10, we'll give another traffic call saying that we're leaving the area to the south and east. Keep the 5,500. Let me, just for the moment, since we happen to be pointed directly due south here on the directional gyro, let's. Oh, okay. Looks like maybe I need to turn it 1 degree to the right, perhaps, but it looks like I've been keeping up with that fairly well. The directional gyro, it's gyroscopic, and it does not have any kind of automatic calibration in this aircraft, so it does gradually, ever so slowly, drift out of alignment. And every now and then, 10-15 minutes, whatever you're comfortable with, not a bad thing to compare these two. Of course, the magnetic compass in the sim, a lot more stable than a real one is. So sometimes in a real compass, you kind of have to just wait till it oscillates, eventually settles in, or you kind of just have to figure out, okay, well, it's going between, 150 and 210, so that's going to be a 180 as far as I can tell, and then you can calibrate it to that. Yeah, there's not turning at all. It's pointed right at south. Go ahead and calibrate it to that. At this point, we got a really, really distinctive feature that we can follow and not get lost on. I'm going to just join the shore of the Delaware Bay and just follow it all the way down. So we were, those of you who've been hanging out with us the entire night, you're going to hear a lot of this repeated. However, for those of you who are joining late, we're coming into my home area. And, for most of my life, this was not my home area. It was what I called my home away from home. This is an area that I visited very frequently. But for the past 3+ years now, this has been my home area. What you're seeing off to the left is the very southern tip of New Jersey. This is Cape May, New Jersey, known for lots of historic lighthouses. And this is the northern entrance, northern peninsula that defines the entrance to the Delaware Bay from the Atlantic Ocean. Over here is Cape Henlopen, or as it's pronounced by the locals as like it's one word. Cape Henlopen. It almost sounds Scandinavian. But Cape Henlopen, or Cape Henlopen as it's called, is the southern tip of the entrance to the Delaware Bay. And I don't know about Cape May. I do know for sure that Cape Henlopen has a military history park there that's preserved the old fort and the old batteries that used to guard the entrance of the Delaware Bay from the Atlantic. So good if you're into military history. That's a nice little tour you can do just north of Rehoboth Beach, Delaware, and Lewes, Delaware. Lewes, Delaware is right here on the inner shore. And in fact, there is a ferry that crosses here. If you were to drive from Lewes, Delaware to Cape May, New Jersey, you'd have to come all the way up Delaware Route 1, kind of the same path I was just describing, all the way up Route 1 into Wilmington, Delaware, then cross the Delaware Memorial Bridge into New Jersey. You take the, I forget what it's called, Garden State Parkway maybe, kind of down south toward the southeastern end of New Jersey, and then you end up in Cape May. But there is a ferry which crosses this, and it's a pretty high volume ferry that you can take, and I think the boat ride's only about a half an hour or so. So it saves you, probably about 4 or 5 hours of driving to take this half-hour boat ride. And it's not cheap, but it's not prohibitively expensive. I have never done it. I think it's $30-40. I can't remember. Maybe less. But anyway, so if you're on the Delaware resorts and you want to head up to Cape May and do some sightseeing, that's a kind of a shortcut you can take to get there. Chavez says Cape May is also the home of the Coast Guard Enlisted Training Center. Okay, very cool. Now, back in the day, when my grandfather did his Navy training, he did his Navy training primarily in Corsairs, and then he was transitioned over to Wildcats and Hellcats when he was deployed in the Atlantic in World War II. But his Navy training assignment was based in Cape May as well. And I don't know if that outfit is still there, but he has a famous story where he and his one of his squad mates decided to do a low pass over Cape May Beach, and it didn't work out very well. He got in formation with a pelican, and then got a little too close. Fortunately lived to tell the tale. Pelican, not so much. But that goes back, was it 2025 now? So that goes back 80 years. And 80 plus. This 45 was the end of the war. He didn't join at the beginning of the war. Joined kind of in the middle. Is it now Cape May County Airport? Okay, Wildwood. Okay, gotcha. Naval Air Station, Wildwood. Okay. Very cool. Next time I'm up that way. We are still a few miles out yet. And Wildwood is on the Atlantic side, not the Bay side. Right, it's right there on the beach. It's, if you consider it the south end of the Jersey Shore. Anyway, let's see if we can get a METAR observation. I can spell METAR, that would help. KOXB. The 240 at 3. 3007 is, I think, what I've got it set to already. And statute miles and clear. The 240 at 3. What's that do for us in terms of runway? So We got a 14 and a 32, that's the primary runway. 20 is kind of the secondary runway. 2 and 20 kind of the secondary runway. 14 and 32. So if we got a wind from 240, it's almost a bang on crosswind to 14 and 32. However, what was it? Only 3 knots. Yeah, so I think we can just land. Let's just do an approach to 3-2. That'll be nice and picturesque. We'll do that kind of a right base approach, right down over the sand. And I'll show you, we're about to kind of start the tour as we get into, we're getting into Lewes and then Cape Henlopen, and then we see all the Delaware resorts kind of line up, right? We got Rehoboth Beach, it's not on here, but Dewey Beach, and then we got the Indian River Inlet, and then we got Bethany and South Bethany, then Fenwick Island, and then we come into Ocean City. South of Ocean City, I didn't really talk about it at the beginning, south of Ocean City there's this kind of pristine, untouched beach. This is all called Assateague Island. Down here we have Chincoteague Island. Chincoteague and Assateague. And if you are familiar with the annual pony swim, wild pony swim between Chincoteague and Assateague, that's where that occurs. And also if you're familiar with children's literature, Misty of Chincoteague was a book that you may or may not have read, or maybe were supposed to have read in probably elementary school. And it takes place in that region as well. And also right there near Chincoteague is Wallops Island, a NASA facility. There's an airport there, and that is also where they do some smaller rocket launches from there. And I've taken some video from a rocket launch that I attended there. They launch smaller, like sounding rockets there, suborbital rockets there pretty frequently. The larger orbital rockets they don't do as frequently from there, but when they do, it's a neat thing to attend. But anyway, that's all south of that inlet, right there. As you get to the south end of Ocean City, Maryland, you see that giant 1,200 space parking lot and all the midway rides down at the bottom end of the boardwalk, with the Ferris wheels and the ride, carnival rides and all that stuff, or indoor arcades and roller coaster and all that kind of fun stuff. Yet just south of that, the Ocean City Inlet is where the fishing boats can re-enter the bay from the ocean. But just on the south side of that, just literally stone's throw from that inlet parking lot is the very northern tip of Assateague Island on the other side of that inlet. Travis says, I got to see a Cygnus launch from there and it was so freaking cool. Yeah, I got to see one bigger launch from there. I don't remember what it was exactly now. It's on my YouTube channel. Alright, so here we go, guys. We're coming on the top end. Here's Lewes, Delaware. Town of Lewes, and then up here is Rehoboth Beach, and then just south of Rehoboth Beach, where the highway comes in and bends down, is Dewey Beach. Rehoboth Beach, very, very family oriented, lots of arcades and restaurants and stuff. Dewey Beach, kind of a party town. Younger crowd there, a little bit more progressive, younger party town crowd in Dewey Beach. Tell you what, I'm going to switch back over to 2305, which is this common traffic advisory frequency for Ocean City Airport. A little early to be making that call on that yet, so we'll hold off on making that, but we'll at least have it tuned in. I am also going to start a very, very gentle descent. We're 5,500. We're not that far. We can actually kind of see. That might be the Indian River Inlet. I don't think that's... no. I think the Indian River Inlet might be here, and then the one I was just pointing at was indeed the space between Ocean City and Assateague, I think. Well, I do want to kind of start scaling the power back. Somebody on 2305. There's somebody goofing around on, yeah, somebody goofing around on guard, so I'm going to stop monitoring that. We'll pick up some Grottos for you, yeah. Grottos Pizza, good, well-known chain in all of the Delaware resorts, not just Rehoboth, but all the way down to Fenwick. And in fact, they have, or at least recently had, a Grottos in the northern part of Ocean City, Maryland as well. And I think one of the big Grottos that was right there on the Rehoboth Beach Boardwalk just recently got demolished. So we're backing the power down, backing the RPMs down, just going into a nice gentle descent. We're not hustling down by any stretch. Okay, yeah, here's the Indian River Inlet here. Yeah, the big two-story one. Yeah, they took that one down just recently. So yeah, here's Rehoboth Beach, and then you got this little inlet here, and then here's Dewey Beach as the highway comes back in. And then you've got a little section of Delaware Seashore National Park, and then here's the Indian River Inlet. Very nice double bridge that connects the two pieces of the barrier island there. Yeah, that's the Ocean City Inlet down there. So here is the very northern tip of Assateague Island, and our airport is just kind of a right base off of that. The Indian River Inlet, as I was saying on the way up, that's a friend of mine, a colleague of mine at work, is a big surfing guy. And he says that the currents that come through this inlet are massive. He loves doing surfing around this bridge here. Great currents for surfing. Dangerous if you're not really experienced, he says, but good surfing if you know what you're doing there. Yep, so we're coming into this wider section here is right at the bottom end of Fenwick Island and the northern end of Ocean City, Maryland. Before we get there, this next stretch of town that's just south of the Indian River is all called Bethany Beach, Delaware. And we got Bethany proper, and then we got what they call South Bethany, all kind of right here. But yeah, here's the Indian River Inlet Bridge. And they have a lot of problem with water transgressing over the highway in this area too. They have to kind of have to keep building up these dunes on either side of this fairly frequently. All right, we're coming up on 2,000. I'm not gonna add some power back in. We don't need to. We don't need to be dropping altitude quite like a stone just yet. Level it off at 2. Oh yeah, we're rolling 2,000 there. Get you a nice review. Yeah, there's the Indian River Inlet Bridge there. Alright, so then the next little stretch there is all called Bethany Beach. And then you get into another stretch after Bethany Beach. You get into another stretch of Delaware Seashore National Park. Very, very similar to Assateague in that stretch is pretty much undeveloped, and the design is for it to stay that way. While I'm going to try and maintain 2,000 feet, I am going to start spinning the props up faster while I am backing the power down slowly. We do want to start slowing the plane down, because as soon as I finish the bottom end of the tour here in this bigger city that's coming up, bottom end of that, you can see this inlet space right here. We're making a right base, and we're going to land this sucker right on runway 32. Alright, so we're passing by Bethany Beach, Delaware right now. Bethany, and then down here, this little square, rectangular-ish neighborhood is considered South Bethany. So we're down below 150 or 150 miles an hour, I guess. Actually, this gauge is in miles an hour, not knots. So if I do say knots, it's just out of habit. By the way, you guys can start putting some predictions into the chat as far as the vertical descent rate upon touchdown. No bot command necessary. Just a number into the chat, with or without the minus sign. We don't even need the minus sign. We know you mean a descent rate either way. As soon as I finish the tour here, it's a right base and we're going to land. So you want to start putting in those predictions in now. On the rudder pedals here, because I'm going to do a little bit of a cross control, a little dip the right wing and try and give you a view of what we're looking at here. So here's this last stretch of Delaware Seashore National Park between South Bethany and Fenwick Island. Fenwick Island is probably about 15 blocks or so just north of the Delaware and Maryland line. And then there's this road that comes in from the west, crosses this bridge here, comes right into the very northern end of Ocean City, Maryland, and the southern end of Fenwick Island. That intersection is in Delaware, but it is right adjacent to the line. Essentially, you make a right turn off of that Delaware Route 54, you're basically in Maryland right there. So this is kind of the definition between Fenwick Island, Delaware, and Ocean City, Maryland. Ocean City, Maryland, 10 miles, 150 blocks or thereabouts, 160 blocks, really. 146th Street is the northern boundary, and they're all numbered all the way down, and then you get to North Division, and then there's like 6 or 7 more blocks after that, so just barely over 150 blocks, 10 miles. Yeah, so here's Lighthouse Road, Delaware 54 comes right in here. Some good restaurants right off of the west end of 54, and then there's a good outdoor music venue right over here. This is northern Ocean City. This is Northside Park. They just added an instrument approach. The medevac helicopter, Maryland State Police medevac helicopter based in Salisbury, comes over here for emergency flyouts sometimes, and they use Northside Park as their north end landing site. Well, they just added an RNAV instrument approach to land on that soccer field there. So they can now do that in lower, worse weather conditions than they were previously able to. They just kind of made that announcement within the past month or so. That's right there. This is what we call Condo Row. This is kind of the area between like 94th and 118th. These were all developed in the 1970s or thereabouts. All these high rises, but they're not really any higher than about 15 stories. This is the Maryland Route 90 bridge. It comes right into the middle of town. 62nd Street is where it enters. My workplace is right off of 65th, so this is kind of where I work, right here. What are they going to do with that landing zone during Winterfest? No idea. I mean, they may not be able to use it during that. But that's only the month between Thanksgiving and New Year's, and really not too many visitors in town during that stretch, so... They do have a southern landing zone. I can't remember if it's a convention center or somewhere down there. So they might just not be able to use that northern one. But there's not much call for it. Not much swimming and surfing that time of year. Not that there aren't car accidents, but... So yeah, here's the complex I work in, just north of the Maryland 90 bridge. And there's my neighborhood is just on the west end of that bridge, right over there. It's Rob's house, right in there somewhere. Right through here is kind of where show center for the air show was. The air show was centered at 16th Street. That's probably right around here. If we see the Holiday Inn, that's right where it was. This is Jolly Roger Amusement Park. This is the what they call Speed World. There's some go-kart tracks here. There's a bunch more go-kart tracks just over the 50 bridge here on the west side, on the mainland side. Ocean City traffic, Comanche 514 Delta Victor's on about a 4-mile right base, runway 32, Ocean City. So, Speed World, Splash Mountain, Water Park there, and a bunch of carnival rides. Jolly Roger Park there, right there, about 30th Street. Convention Center was right there at about 40th Street. 40th, 41st Street there. Air show was, yeah, I mean, this is a lot of details. This is a Google Maps enhancement. Yeah, I think here's the Holiday Inn here. That was a show center for the show. And there's the Inlet parking lot and all the carnival rides and such. And there's our airport. So let me get the power back down. 150 knots, 150 miles an hour still. We can get the gear out. Try to get the fuel pump on. Yeah, I'll spin the camera up there after we land, Chavez. It's a lot of detail. This is a really neat add-on. It's a Google imagery add-on for the city. Puts a lot of detail into it. Keep those predictions coming in, guys. Ocean City traffic, Comanche 514 Delta Victor's on about a 1.5, 2 mile right base now, runway 32 full stop, Ocean City. Second notch of flaps. Mixing props full rich now. So this is the northern end of Assateague Island. It's very pristine. It's a national park or a state park. I can't remember which. National park, I'm pretty sure. Alright, yeah, we're very high. Go fast. Power down. Ready to turn right base to final. One more notch of flaps to go. Gears down to green. Ocean City traffic, Comanche 514 Delta Victor is on a right base to final, runway 32 full stop, Ocean City. Okay, down under 100, final notch of flaps. Still a little bit high in the turn, but we've got some room to descend in the turn. Speed's looking good. We want it to bleed out to about 80. And we're right on glide. We're overshooting the turn slightly, but we're right on glide. And speed's coming down nicely. We do have to correct for the overshoot here, but we're looking okay. Right over top. So this is the beach. It's known for the wild ponies just like wandering around randomly. And then, of course, at the southern end of Assateague Island is where they swim across to Chincoteague twice a year. Ocean City traffic, Comanche 514 Delta Victor, short final now, runway 32 full stop, Ocean City. Alright, looking right where we want to be. Get a smooth reduction in power, slight lift of the nose, and just let her settle in. Yeah, overdid it just a touch. Skimmed it just... Oh, no, it didn't register as one. I thought we skimmed and skipped it a little bit. Stats seem to tell a different story. I'll take it. Didn't look at the number, though. Well, the number's pretty respectable. And we'll get clear over the whole short. Make our call. Start cleaning up. Ocean City traffic, Comanche 514 Delta Victor, clear of runway 32. Taxiing back to the terminal, Ocean City. Okay, flaps can come in. Strobe, landing lights, pitot, and fuel pump off. Just about 1,000 RPMs in. I'm going to lean the mix out right to the point where it starts to drop. Oh, there we are. Got back about an hour earlier than I planned. So I thought I was going to try and time the sunset, but didn't quite make it there. But I'll tell you what. Well, since I'm ending a little bit early, I will go ahead and take that win and and wrap up. I do have to make one final touch up to my presentation that I'm giving Saturday morning at Flight Sim Expo. So I'll take the time to do that. However, I will, once we get parked, I'll take the camera and I'll zoom it up over the city, and we'll show you some of the fun details that you can see with this this Google add-on package. And this building does not look at all like this. And this building, this building looks much less nice than pictured. This one over here looks much nicer in the real world than pictured. Yeah, Chavez agrees it is a really nice airport. Yeah, this is like a two-story colonial house that's here with a nice big staircase with a nice two-story window out to the ramp. And then this is more like just a generic hangar here. Larger but generic hangar. I looked on flightsim.to for an enhancement for this airport. There is not one that I saw. Alright, anyway. Let's yeah, before we... Nice pilot lounge when I peeked inside. Yeah, we... so like I said, the department I work for also manages the airport, and we occasionally have our team lead meetings down at the airport conference room, which is always fun, because it's a neat place to hang out just for the heck of it. 54 was the number that registered. It did say I did not bounce it, although I felt like I did, so I might have still been flaring a little bit as the mains touched. It was sloppy, but didn't bounce it at least. 54 was the number that registered, so let's see how you guys did with your guesses. We had 78, 92, 60, and 43. Okay, 60 and 43. You guys are close. 43 to 54, that's 11 away. 54 to 60 is 6 away. So Pete the Guy is the guy with the win. Get that written out. Pete the Guy. We will do this drawing. We typically do this drawing toward the end of the even-numbered month, so we would typically be doing this drawing this weekend. However, because of Flight Sim Expo, I'm pushing this drawing until July the 1st, a week from tonight, Tuesday. July the 1st, that is our 7th stream anniversary. So in addition to picking our winner from our landing rate raffle for the month of June, we will also be doing some other special giveaways. So hopefully you can join us. We'll be freshly back from Flight Sim Expo. Hopefully I get the computer all reset in time. And good to go. Pete the Guy, where are we? KOXB on 624. All right. Well, you're all set. Your entry's in there. So good luck on the drawing a week from now, Pete. Hope that I'll see you in the meantime. And yeah, and for those of you who are new to the channel, 2 drawings that we do. One toward the end of the odd-numbered months. One toward the end of the even-numbered months. The one that we do toward the end of the odd-numbered months is the one that we call our Alphabets raffle. That's the one that we enter with the Twitch channel points, aka the Alphabets points, there at the bottom of the chat panel. You can cash in 2,000 of those for an entry into that raffle. If you save up and do 10,000, that'll get you 6 for the price of 5. So that's how you enter the Alphabets raffle. The landing rate raffle, you just saw how that works. Be the closest predictor of the descent rate upon touchdown, and that's how you get that one. And we pull that one toward the end of the even-numbered months, typically. This time is going to be an exception. When we do those drawings, the winner gets their choice of any of our Slant Alpha branded merch items, the t-shirt, ball cap, mouse pad, coffee mug, or tote bag. Or, if you don't want any of that garbage, you can choose an electronic gift card to Amazon, or xplane.org store, or simmarket.com. Then we reset all the entries and start collecting them again for the following month. That is how that works. Alright. Fantastic. Well, let's go ahead and close up the plane, but then let's take the camera for a spin, shall we? So let's, and I got all the stuff done off the runway. So let us start by shutting down the avionics. So COM 1, COM 2, NAV 1, NAV 2, transponder, ADF radio, and then the rest of the avionics switch, which knocks out the autopilot, which I don't use anyway, and then the engine monitor, which I also don't use. But we do have a switch for those two things to shut them off. Let us do a quick live mag check. We always want to kind of blip the magneto switch down, make sure that it does indeed kill power to the mags, so you avoid the situation where the plane's sitting here, you have the switch off, but the plane still has live mags. Somebody comes by and bumps that prop, it could actually start to fire up and take a hand off or something. So you want to make sure that you are indeed not sitting here on the ramp with the live mag. So we'll just do that blip real quick, and you indeed see that it does kill power to the end, to the mag, or start to kill power to the engine. So we're good there. With that test complete, we can pull the throttle all the way out. Plane will go into a nice low idle, and then we'll just gently pull the mix into cutoff, and there it goes. Mags can then come off fully at that point. We can go ahead and cut off the fuel valves. The nav, beacon, and battery switch can come off. And we can pop the control lock can come back on. And we can pop the door, hop on out. Let's do a real quick walk around. We'll grab the luggage out of the luggage compartment. We also need to reset all the tie downs and pitot cover and all that stuff. So not really inspecting anything here, but we do want to just get to all the tie down positions, put those ropes back up, make sure the plane's nice and secured, wheel chocks and all that stuff. Wheel chocks on that side, that the tie down. We'll note for the record that I did put the pitot cover on this time. A couple times I've come to the pre-flight walk around and that has not been on. I'm like, did I forget again? That's weird that I would forget it that many times. But we'll see. We'll note it for the record. I did put it on here as we landed in Ocean City. So see what happens next time. Let's go ahead and grab out my toolkit and duffel bag, and we'll go ahead and close that back up. Hop back into the plane, and that should be it. We'll go ahead and obviously we would exit the plane and close this and latch it from the outside. But there we are, done and done. All right, well, let me do what I promised, and let's take the drone camera for a little tour of the city here. Again, this is pretty much my home here. Has been my home away from home for a good chunk of my life. It's been kind of my official home now for just over 3 years. Let's go to drone speed and let's just knock it up as high as it'll go, shall we? Alright. Now that I think about it, if we're this far from the city, LOD might not be... might not be seeing the best of these details here because we're, 5 or 6 miles from the city, but we should be able to see some of the details. You can see quite a bit of, beachgoers. Obviously, the imagery was taken during the summer. But man, if you know these properties, man, you can recognize some of these hotels, right? There's 3rd Street Park. This is City Hall right here. dome on top of City Hall. As we come up to, yeah, here's the Holiday Inn. This is what was used as pretty much a show center. So you can definitely see it's a little goofy because it's, again, we're parked pretty far away, but you can definitely see that that's his Holiday Inn. We got water towers galore. We got the water tower. We got the beach ball water tower down here at the south end. We got another water tower up by the convention center. Convention center's at 40th. Okay, so we're not past Jolly Roger Park yet. There's Jolly Roger, 30th Street. Here's the convention center, 40th. We got water tower there. Now, do they have the new branding on this water tower? No, you can't really see. There's our convention center, and then as we continue north, you can see Dead Freddy's there with the red roof on it. You can see the water tower right there at the complex that I work at. Chavez, this place should look somewhat familiar to you. Again, it's a little bit mangled by the level of detail, but and you can see that I have it open. You guys have seen a number of pictures I've posted from that location. Can you see the dynos for the indoor golf? I don't know. You definitely see some of the indoor golf stuff up here. So anyway, very, very cool. Very, very fun level of detail. My parents used to have a unit in this building right here. This shopping center is about to come down and get rebuilt. Let's see what else we have up here. All the big high-rise condos. Carousel is done so well in detail. You can see that the front of this is Carousel. Again, it kind of looks like it's a melted building, and that's just because our aircraft is parked 10 miles away from this, but. If you fly right past it, that looks really, really nice. And then here's Northside Park, and yeah, this is the soccer field out kind of right on the water, with the bleachers right there that they do the landing zones at. So yeah, if they ever need to fly somebody, that's where they'll put them. Yep, and then you get a little bit further up here, and you get up into where I was talking. Delaware 54 is the one that goes out to the west, crosses that bridge, and heads on out to Points West. So yeah, really neat add-on package, and a lot of fun to have that. Of course, now all the LOD is coming back here. Yeah, there we are. Can you see the plane at the professor's golf course? Oh, I don't, not sure I know which plane you mean, Chavez. Somewhere around here is there's the parking lot, but somewhere around here is the, biplane tours. Yeah, okay, so there's a plane kind of propped up here at the entrance that is not depicted. It might be one of those right there. And this is all fuel tanks right here. But yeah, there's a plane coming in along the entrance that's not depicted. Oh, right at the state line. Oh, okay. Yeah, the other mini golf place. Yeah, I don't know. We'll check that out next time, perhaps. Anyway, so yeah, fun little add-on, and of course, if you know this area really, really well, like I do, man, just a lot of fun detail you get to look at when you fly over it. So, yep. Very, very cool. We will go ahead and wrap up. Well, the Furry Copilot bot just told you, and you've seen it flashing across the bottom of the screen, Flight Sim Expo. That is the very next thing happening on this here live stream. The show schedule underneath the About tab and over on our Discord server is very, very detailed in terms of my plans. So I'm getting on the road Thursday morning. I'm getting into town Thursday around dinner time. I think I've got messages out to a handful of folks that I'm going to try and catch up with for dinner and drinks on Thursday. So please feel free to contact me on Discord if you'd like to be part of that. Not even sure where we're going to end up, but that will happen. Friday, very busy day. We got the entire afternoon devoted to that Flight Sim Expo Friday, that cavalcade of new product unveiling announcements. All Friday afternoon. Then Friday evening, we go basically right from that into a brief, like a welcome reception. But then Friday evening is the big Friday Night Ops event where all of the folks that are there with their VATSIM controlling rigs are all going to set up and do live controlling right there from the show floor Friday evening. So good amount of VATSIM air traffic control coverage in the Northeast, and a lot of us will be controlling right there from the show floor, so you'll hear all kinds of activity. And I will indeed have my controlling rig up there with the webcam. My plan is to set it up very much like we did ZDC Live, so you'll have a camera facing me, and you'll have a camera kind of facing out to where all the activity is. So it should be a good spot to pop in and see what's happening on the show floor Friday evening for that Friday Night Ops event. Saturday, lots and lots and lots of stuff going on. Saturday starts with the presentation that I'll be giving on Saturday morning called VATSIM Myth Debunkers. VATSIM Myth Debunkers. We're going to be kind of dispelling some of the myths and hopefully some of the apprehension about getting onto VATSIM. If you're one of the ones that's been lurking on the channel, but you're kind of nervous about getting on because you're not sure what to say, you're concerned about making mistakes, we're going to do a presentation Saturday morning right there at Flight Sim Expo that should help you kind of ease some of that apprehension. So Saturday morning, 10:30, that'll be that one there, up on the community stage right there in the on the trade show floor. And then there's a bunch of other ones that I'll be attending during the day on Saturday. Saturday, I'm also doing an ILS landing demonstration that I'm going to be doing with the Boston Virtual ARTCC Wings Over New England's booth. So I'll be popping in there and demonstrating an ILS landing. I'm going to try and fly it by hand, hot shot it and fly it by hand. We'll see how well or poorly that goes. Then we've got, in the afternoon on Saturday, we've got a meet and greet at the Media Partner Lounge. It's something that Mr. Squirrel Lee and I co-sponsored along with a couple of other flights and news outlets, a Media Partner Lounge where you can go kind of hang out and meet some of your favorite streamers. We'll be hanging around there from 2 to 3 on Saturday afternoon. We've got a couple more presentations, seminars that I'd like to attend. And then Saturday evening, of course, we've got the big Moose After Dark live karaoke, which Mustafa and I will be co-hosting. You know, he does that karaoke stream on his Flight Sim channel about once a month. But we'll be doing a live version of that on Saturday evening. We do plan on live streaming that as well. So Saturday's a very, very busy day. And then Sunday, I'll just be doing live air traffic control right there from the show floor at the VATSIM booth, explaining to passersby what they are seeing and hearing as we do that. So then that'll be Sunday. Sunday evening, I'm open for dinner plans, dinner and drinks, and then Monday get back on the road to come back down here. And then Tuesday, we get right back into the show schedule. We're normally on Tuesdays and Fridays at 7 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time. Tuesday, we get right back into the show schedule, and that Tuesday, July 1st, is our 7th anniversary of this very live stream. So we'll be doing, as I mentioned before, we're doing our landing rate raffle drawing, but we'll be doing some other special giveaways. So you definitely want to attend a week from tonight, Tuesday, July 1st, as we celebrate the 7th anniversary of the Slant Alpha Adventures channel, and we give away some stuff as a result. Okay, that's going to wrap it, guys. Let's see. Who are we sending the raid over to? Oh, well, I see that Jeffrey B is still on. He's doing some VATSIM air traffic control up at Reading Airport, so not too far from where Jet Pilot Cinnamon was controlling tower at Lancaster. Jeffrey B is up there at Reading. So we will shoot the raid over to him and see what he's up to, what kind of traffic he can generate, and we'll definitely be planning on seeing him this weekend up in Providence as well. So, all right, we'll shoot you over to Jeffrey B. Tell him that Slant Alpha sends his love, and of course we will see him soon. And in the meantime, do enjoy, be happy, healthy, and safe in all of your travels and adventures. I will be happy and healthy and safe in my travels and adventures. And we'll meet you back here on the live stream Friday evening at our normal time, 7 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time, 2300 Zulu Time, live from the show floor at Flight Sim Expo in Providence, Rhode Island, friends. Take care and talk to you soon. Say hi to Jeffrey B. for us.